All right. Hey, welcome. It is another edition of Without a Crystal Ball's Victims Hotline, where you can call in and talk about our favorite gossip columnist, Katie Joy Paulson. I haven't done one of these in a while, and if you don't want to call in, that's fine. I got a lot to talk about as far as things that have been going on Twitter with our favorite gossip columnist, Katie Joy Paulson. And let me just put it out there. I don't care any longer what people think is taboo or not taboo, what to talk about. There were a bunch of people a couple years ago that criticized me for talking about Katie Joy's kid, and it was unfair, it was unjust, and they were wrong about it, because had people listened to me and other people back then, maybe we wouldn't be in the position we are in now, where Katie Joy Paulson has continued to exploit children. And yes, I mean that very sincerely. I didn't say sexually exploit. I said exploit children. I don't care if this video is monetized or not, but it is in the realm of honest critiquing and not a violation of terms of service, because I'm not talking about anything intrinsic about Katie Joy Paulson. I'm talking about her propensity to exploit children for her own benefit, which is exactly what she does. Oh, I just realized I have my chat there. I haven't fixed that for a while. Let's see here, chat box. There we go. Do I have room for that somewhere? Let's put that... I don't know. We'll put it up here. Just put it right there. Maybe that. Well, no, I can't put it right there because I got something to show there. Yeah, where can I put this? We'll put it right here. It doesn't really matter. You guys don't read much of the chat anyways. But so recently, again, on Twitter, which is kind of the go-to place to find out all things Katie. This is why I think that Katie Joy avoids Twitter like the plague, because she knows people have figured her out on Twitter. And she's kind of not much taken a liking to Twitter any longer, because it exposes her constant historical revisionism, how she will delete things many times over, how she will lie about something and then 2 minutes later say something completely different. And so there are people that keep track of these things. And so I think she's really kind of been avoiding Twitter in that aspect. She's gone mostly to Instagram. And even to Facebook, I guess. So I kind of have noticed that. And again, I don't follow on Twitter. This is just from what I kind of seen in passing. Lower this here. All right. Now I got kind of a chat box there. We'll see. But I asked a question on Twitter just recently, so there hasn't been any real activity on it yet. But the question was, do you think that Katie Joy Paulson exploits her child? And do you think that she exploits other children? Now, granted, one doesn't imply the other. However, I personally believe that they are both. I believe that she exploits other people's children, like she did in the Gabby Petito case when she, was talking about the death of a young woman. Whenever there's a death of a child, she's right there. She's just trauma vulturing. On any time a child has died, any time a child has suffered, she is right there to exploit it. She has done so for years with her own child, to exploit her son's illness or illnesses in order to benefit herself, not for her child, but for herself. I am absolutely stating this unequivocally. I am stating this not just as a belief. I am stating this as knowledge. And the reason being is because the evidence is overwhelming. She has, if you guys watch the brilliant commentary that Erin did on her channel not too long ago, she was absolutely spot on when she was pointing out all the things that Katie has done historically. And why didn't we listen to Matt Bauer at the time? Because Matt Bauer had just nailed her with her personality types, her patterns. And it was all about Katie Joy. Everything Katie Joy does is for Katie Joy. It includes trying to profit both monetarily and emotionally off the suffering of other people. I do believe very clearly that she's a sadist. Let me put this in no uncertain terms. These are my beliefs that she's a sadist, but it is my knowledge that she profits off exploitation of children. I'm not even going to say it's a belief as much as it is. I mean, clearly, if I know it, I believe it. But I think it's a much stronger claim to say this is something that I know rather than something I merely believe, because the evidence is completely overwhelming that she does exploit children. So I did put it as a question to people on my Twitter. Let me see if I can find that here. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. All right. So, like I said, it doesn't have a lot of... I don't want to move that. It doesn't have a lot of votes yet. I am kind of curious. It is in the video description. So if you want to go vote on it, please do so now. Take the time. Only 9 votes. But I had asked, does Without a Crystal Ball exploit her child? Does Without a Crystal Ball exploit other children? My answer is absolutely yes to both. She's a queen of child exploitation. One of the things I read on child exploitation is that it's considered to be, quote, child exploitation is when someone uses a child for financial gain, sexual gratification, labor, or personal advantage. And to some degree, yes, I think all of these do apply. Not so much of her own child, but she has clearly been sexually gratified when she talks about child sexual assault on other people's children. That is something she seems to enjoy doing. I don't know why. I don't understand her mentality. I think it's sick. I think she needs to get serious psychological help for it. But that is my personal opinion. I really do believe that she enjoys some form of sexual gratification by talking about statistical things that have happened with children and sexual child assault. It's something that she, for years, has done no benefit to anybody. She has not helped a single solitary person that has been a victim of child sexual assault. Not one. All she has ever done is profit for her own channel. That's it. That's the only thing she's ever done. And so the child exploitation, I think that is the most egregious, is for financial gain or prefers personal advantage, which she does. 88% so far said yes to both. 11 says yes to one, but 0 yes to two, and 0 to neither. And again, I know people are going to skew the results because we have trolls, and I don't care. The fact that even one person agrees to both means that I'm not alone in this, that I'm not the only person willing to speak out on taboo topics when people will have such pushback by saying, you can't talk about her children or a child. Well, yeah, we can when she makes her child the target of her narcissism, that she is promoting all these things that she falls back on by saying, oh, my child was sick 5 or 6 years ago and they did this, and this to avoid criticism. And she props that child up as a shield. Then yes, we have every right to discuss her doing that. And if you think otherwise, then you're just wrong and you don't have to listen to me. Go watch someone else. I don't care. I can't be canceled because I just don't do much on YouTube any longer. So there's nothing I have a fear of. If I have one viewer or I have 1,000 viewers, I have one super chat, or I have one Patreon, or I have 0. My opinions are what they are. And I'm no longer beholden to anyone to refrain from talking about what I want to talk about. And no, I am not being hyperbolic. April, I am not being hyperbolic in the least. I do believe very strongly she gets off on talking about child sexual assault. Just to look at her Duper's Delight, just the way she grossly and I guess that's the word, the imagery that she uses, the performative nature of her descriptive ways of looking at child sexual assault are just mortifying. And so, yes, I do believe very strongly that she does get some sexual gratification from it. But as far as for her own child, no, I'm not accusing her of that. But for other people's child, yes. However, for her own child, she exploits her own child for financial gain. Just like I said recently on Aaron's stream, and these things were like very old. They were 5-year-old when we got them. I have a lot of those messages as well. I've got them years and years and years and years ago. So they're already antiquated. But they do indicate that Katie Joy was profiting off people feeling sorry for herself and giving her gifts and giving her money to be used for a child that, yes, she bought her house with. This is long since known. This is not just me, throwing out misinformation for the sake of it. This is something that's been verified by many, many, many people. She tried suing me on that, and she can go to hell. She can't sue me on that because she obviously statute of limitations. But I had the evidence that what I was saying was correct, or at the very least would validate that there's no malicious intent. These are my actual beliefs. It's not malice. You have to show malice if you're a public figure, which obviously she's going to do because I'm not trying to be malicious. I'm not making any of this stuff up. The evidence is overwhelming that she got money and that she was very ungrateful and ingrate for the things she had gotten, especially like a coffee maker, an espresso maker. I believe that is child exploitation. That she has just recently been saying a lot of stuff against Trump, which is fine. I'm not a Trump fan either, but most of her fan base is probably Trumpsters of some kind. They probably are MAGA wearing hats or something or other. Cause I don't know how anybody rational can listen to Katie Joy. I find it difficult enough just to listen to the clips, and I feel very sorry for people like Llama Girl that listen to her extensively to try to divulge to everybody else kind of a piecemeal the highlights of her streams, and my hat's off to Llama Girl. Go buy her a coffee or something, because I just couldn't do what she does. I would probably lose my mind. And she's not the only one. There's other people out there as well. But when she was going after Trump, a lot of her constituents or a lot of her stands were basically telling her not to get into the political arena. Because that's her base, but she doesn't care, and that's fine. She doesn't have to. I honestly think she's really right on that. If some people don't want to listen to her political views, they don't have to. It's her channel. I actually agree with her on that. However, when there was pushback, what did she do? She went right back to her playbook, and you could all go and see this on Twitter play out. Go to my Twitter, and you'll see people talking about this. You'll see her going right back to, oh, my child. She'll start talking about her child again every time there's criticism about something she's doing. When it comes to that happy, super happy, whatever fun time Duggar stuff that I absolutely couldn't give a crap about, that I do not follow. I don't have any interest in the Duggars. Nothing. I don't even understand why people even care so much, other than Josh Duggar did some horrific things. He's in prison and he deserves to rot there. Okay, great. Game over for him. Let him die in prison. I don't care. But to have so much hundreds and 600, 700, 800 videos that this woman has made about this family is at the point of being obsessive. It is exploitation at that point, because she's profiting off the tragedy of that family who wants nothing to do with her. And so she was ixed from this documentary by who was it? Did it on Amazon? They didn't want anything to do with her. And again, I don't know if they had any ties to her to begin with, or whether they talked to her or not. I honestly don't know. If you guys know, let me know. I don't know if they even talked to her and just decided to not deal with her because they recognized she was not an asset to the documentary, that she was a hindrance, that she was problematic, and she lies a lot, that they probably said, oh, no, she's not somebody credible to have in our documentary, or they just don't know who she is. I honestly don't know. Like I said, I'm willing to listen to somebody on that because I don't follow that. But I do know that she's really, really pissed about not being in that documentary. And again, she goes back to falling on, oh, but my son, oh, it was so heartbreaking. We went through so much. Yeah, and I'm sure they did, although I do believe that she has no motherly instincts. I'm going to just tell you, my belief is she doesn't give a shit about anybody else, including her family, her husband, or her son. Maybe to a minuscule amount, but she's not a mother, in my opinion. Again, these are my opinions. I'm allowed to have them. And if you want to agree, great. If you don't, that's fine too. You don't have to agree with me. But you can't say I can't discuss it. I can. I believe she's a horrible, horrible mother. I believe that child deserves better. And when people will say that people are attacking her child, they're her flying monkeys that are just defending her rather than saying, hey, maybe Katie Joy is exploiting her child. And for the safety of that child, people should stop supporting her when it comes to her lying about other families and other situations that she's definitely used to profit from and exploit to where she can make content out of. You know, I just think that very strongly, if somebody is supporting that, then they're just as bad as she is. I really do. Now, I'm not saying don't go watch her. Don't, if you want to go give her $1 million, knock yourself out, man. If you are that kind of person, knock yourself out. If you want to support her, that's your business. You're an adult. But I can also say you're a horrible person for supporting somebody who goes out of their way to exploit their child and other people's children when it's been so thoroughly documented. I just find that to be morally detestable. Anyways, that is my little rant. Again, I'm not going to get into the specificities of the tweets because you can go look at them. You can go find them and see what's been going on. Without a crystal balls. Who has this in the thread? I think Katie is a liar, which is the Twitter person. We all know Katie's a liar, but there's a Twitter person who I like. Katie is a liar. And there's other people that have been discussing this very thing, that Katie's playbook is to, whenever she gets any kind of form of criticism, go back to her child. And I think that is disgusting. I think that is weaponizing your child in order to avoid healthy criticism. The problem is with healthy criticism, when it comes to Katie Joy, is she's immune to it. She cannot take constructive criticism at all. It doesn't exist for her because in her mind's eye, she can do no wrong. She is a sociopath. She is a narcissist, a malignant narcissist who believes that she is above everyone else. This is why she's been sued for defamation a number of times. The average person doesn't get sued for defamation over and over and over again. You get sued for defamation when you're probably pretty much lying about someone. when people want to sue you, you're lying about them for the most part. Now, that doesn't necessarily have to follow. I mean, people can be telling the truth and still be sued. But when you're repeatedly sued for putting out information that people have said is wrong, yeah, there's probably something to that. There's probably something about you lying in order to exploit these types of tragedies. Let me go back in the live chat for a minute here. First of all, by the way, I noticed a name here, Jennifer Smith. At first, I no relation. I have an ex-girlfriend from high school named Jennifer Smith, and I adore her to this day. No, sorry, not high school, college. From a college that I adore into this day. And I thought I was like her for a second. I'm like, oh my God, Jennifer, but it wasn't. I did look. But anyways, great name. I loved that name, Jennifer Smith. And she says, I can answer yes. She's absolutely exploits children and anyone else whose story will get in her head. Make her money, portray her narrative, etc. But you know that probably more than anybody. I do. And so does Tina. So does Aaron. So does Renelle. So does Nikki, 38. So does a lot of content creators. They've all experienced this. It's not just me. I'm probably one of the more vocal. So is Aaron. So is Veda. And that's one of the reasons why Katie Joy filed, a false TRO against me to try to silence me, because she didn't like the fact that I was giving her pushback, that I dare stand up as a heterosexual, cisgender, white male, that I dare speak out against a woman who was falsely accusing me of stuff. How dare I do that? But I did. I did stand up and said, no, you cannot be lying about me about this. And I'm going to hold you accountable for it. Unfortunately, I couldn't go all the way with holding her accountable, but other people are, such as 7M and Robert Shin, who are still in litigation with her for holding her accountable for lying about them. And more power to them. I'm going to refresh this vote here in a few minutes, so if you're going to vote, do it soon. We'll see if we can get like at least 20 votes. Maggie M, welcome to New Hole. Thank you, Maggie. Appreciate it. Thank you for joining the channel. I do appreciate it. It's nice to know that at least there are some people that still support, me in my effort to try to make people aware of Katie Joy. I don't do it very frequently. So anybody says, oh, Steve's still obsessed about Katie. I talk about her maybe once every couple of weeks. I have a full-time job, and I do other stuff that's of more interest to me relating to philosophy. I just did, something on Trump on Non Sequitur Show. I just did before that the James Torr, Dave Farina debate review. I find this to be much more interesting than talking about Katie Joy. But the problem is there's still not enough people out there criticizing Katie Joy for the things she needs to be criticized for. And that's unfortunate. It really is. And so I continue to do it. Sporadically, and I admit that, but I still continue to do it. And if everybody don't likes it, don't watch. I don't care. Again, if I have one viewer or 1,000 viewers, it makes no difference. I'm not in a position where I give a shit that I have how many people watching. What I give a shit is there at least one person out there that's willing to stand up and do what is right and say, this is not cool. This is somebody who's exploiting their child. Now, can anything be done about it? No. I mean, again, these are not things that are against the law. It's not against your law to exploit a child. I'm not saying Katie Joy has done anything illegal. But, I mean, she certainly does some things that are unethical. Her child was locked in a room for 10 hours so she can stream. I find that to be pretty sick. And again, this is facts on evidence. These are things that are already known. That she uses her child to avoid criticism, I find to be unethical. And so, yes, I think people should speak out about that. But thank you, Maggie M, very much. Hi, Brandon. Hi, Megan. Hi, Nikki. Oh, Nikki is out there. Hi, Nikki. Nikki Supernatural Crime with Nikki. She knows. Nikki knows. She's got Katie Joy's number. She knows what's up. By the way, the link to join is not pinned to the top. I made a boo-boo. Let me pin. If you want to call in, here you go. I'm linking that to the top. If you wanted to come on in, there you go. Call on the show. Call to Without a Crystal Ball's Victims Hotline. It's not much of a hotline if I don't have the availability for somebody to call. They don't have to, but if you want to, there you go. Nikki, why don't you call if you like to? I like to talk to you anyways, Nikki. It's been a while, but yeah, why don't you call in? That'd be great. Megan would be great too. I don't think I've ever been on a panel with Megan, actually. Megan, have we ever been on a panel? I don't think so. I love your stuff though, Megan. I do. You have my full support. Let's see here. I grew up with, so Charlotte says, I grew up with parents and zero parental instincts or empathy. I recognize that in Katie Joy. That is a excellent statement, and that I think is something to be noted. Katie Joy has no parental instincts, and nor does she have empathy. She was born a sociopath, so therefore her ability to empathize with people is severely compromised, if not completely devoid of having any kind of abilities to empathize. I don't know if I can say that she has zero ability to empathize, but it's certainly to the point where it's diminished, where she doesn't care and has become sadistical. And if you're a sadist, then you generally really can't have empathy towards somebody. I mean, go ask a psychologist, but to me at least, it seems weird to be a sadist that has empathy. If you had empathy, you wouldn't be a sadist. So I think those seems, at least to me, be mutually exclusive. But you would have to talk to a psychologist, because I don't know. But to me, it just seems odd to say that, oh, yeah, I'm empathetic, but I'm also a sadist. You know, she's a sadist. So I just can't see how she has empathy. But yes, I think, Sheila, you understand then that there are parents that just were not meant to be parents. She never wanted to be a parent. Being a parent to her is a burden. She talks about it all the time, how what a burden her child is. There's no love there. And every time she does try to portray anything that relates to affection or love, it comes across as contrived. It comes across as non-normal, non-natural. It's because it doesn't come naturally to her. This is what people see, especially mothers. All the mothers out there see this because they're mothers. Well, all the mothers that want to see it. She obviously has mothers that don't see it for some strange reason, because maybe they don't get the right information, or there are not enough people calling her out on this. But the mothers who see it go, wait a minute here. This is not how a mother who loves her child would act, would use their child in this exploitative way. John Foley says the average person doesn't get sued for anything ever, let alone defamation. That's pretty well true. I mean, I've never been sued personally as far as what I've done. I've sued other people, right? But I've never been sued for anything ever. But I have done some suing, obviously. And before I even hit YouTube, I've sued people and won. I've told you, I sued Imperial Irrigation District, the power company. I sued them and won. Wasn't very much. Okay, it wasn't like enough to retire on. No, it was just I got my deposit back because they were wrong, and I knew they were wrong, and I took them to court. And the judge was just like, first of all, he didn't even show up, so I would have won by default. But the judge still asked me, well, what are you entitled to here? And I explained to the judge, the person working for the power company was completely wrong. They said I owe this, and this. I wasn't living there. It wasn't me. I showed them that I wasn't living there, and they're like, oh, well, yeah, that's a silly. Why would they make you pay for this? I'm like, because they're idiots. And so, yeah, I won that case. I've also sublet to people and won for rent and things of that nature. Let's see here. Brandon says that more than 3 people tell you that you're drunk, you're probably drunk. Yeah. If you're at a bar and you get, all the people around you saying you're drunk, you probably are drunk. At least it's highly the probability is that you are. I always want confirmation from the 4th person that I'm drunk. Chemo, you're the 4th person in that state. And so, yeah, you can confirm that you're drunk. Anasfrida says, Katie Joy will exploit, i.e. make use of, anyone or anything that she might make her money, or get attention and narcissistic supply. I've not seen her since the Sequitur lawsuit, though. I haven't watched her stuff either, but she's definitely been around because, she's really pissed off about this Amazon, Amazon. Oh, there we go. Amazon thing, not using her, I guess, a huge amount of database, because according to her, she's been following them forever, and therefore she's the expert on the Duggars when she gets everything wrong, and even the Duggars tell her that. So anyways, hi, Brandon. Hi, Nikki.
Hey, what up, Steve?
Woo, you loud.
Hi.
You loud.
Oh.
Yeah, it's okay.
I need to back it off.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, that's fine. But anyways, hi, Brandon. Nikki.
Hey, how's it going?
But you know what? By the way, I hate to say it, but I have been stalking your channel the last couple of days, just every time you put something out to watch, but I don't necessarily leave a comment, so forgive me for not leaving a comment. I should, because I tell people, leave a comment on videos, but I have watched it, okay? So I haven't forgotten about you, man. I like your stuff. It's been really good stuff lately.
Well, thank you. I'm out to expose. I can't handle what's going on, and the fact that she gets away with like everything. It's so, I'm just in awe. I've never ever come across somebody like her in my life.
It's difficult to explain to people that don't know the history, right?
Like the everything. Exactly. If you go to the beginning and you've been watching for years, trust me, you get to the point where you're like, enough. Like you get angry.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, and for example, like my work does know what's kind of going on online a little bit.
Yeah.
I work with obviously a number of people, and I always figured eventually somebody's going to look into the stuff. Okay, it's just right. So I wanted to get ahead of the game, and so I try to explain to people, and of course they're like, "That seems a little weird." Then they go watch, and they go, "Holy crap, dude! You weren't even exaggerating." I'm like, "Nope."
That's the thing. You can just give them and say, "Here, watch this Instagram live." Any one of them, and people look and be like, "Yeah, you're not joking. Like she's there's something wrong with her. Like just with one show they watch, it's crazy."
Yeah, and so the evidence is her own stuff, and this is what Veda, this is what Aaron, this is what Tina, this is what most of us always did was just use her own stuff against her. We don't have to.
So easy.
We don't have to come up with anything else. I really despise when people say, "Oh, there are people over there that are fabricating screenshots and evidence and emails." None of us ever done any of that shit. Let me just tell you right here and now. Anybody who says myself or Aaron or any else of us that have fabricated anything, you better show exactly what we have fabricated, because I guarantee it has never happened. I have never fabricated a damn thing. Not an email, not a screenshot, nothing. Everybody who said otherwise has been lying to you. Guess what? You've been duped. You've been duped by people like Unirock and Katie Joy who wanted to spin a narrative.
Yeah, look where Unirock is right now.
Right? I knew that would get somebody going. But isn't that mind-blowing that when it happens to them, they're like, "Oh crap, how is Unirock lying about me when he's done the same thing to other people?" He and Katie Joy have gone out of the way to try to run these narratives that like I've faked emails and screenshots. Never has happened.
Yep.
Never. I swear to God as my witness, I've never fabricated a damn thing. And if you think otherwise, get the fuck off my channel, because you're just not somebody I want to talk to. Seriously, I don't want to deal with that level of stupidity any longer. Because at that point, they're just running a already disproven narrative, and it does nothing but try to send these flying monkeys to defend Katie Joy. That's it. And so I have zero tolerance for any of that shit any longer. And you guys shouldn't either.
Yeah, when you watch her long enough, like, and it's hard or it's not hard. It's actually easy even to catch up on what she's been doing. She's been doing the same shit for years. She has never changed. She will never change, ever, 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 ever. This is the type of person that is going to have a lot of issues with the law. Always. It's just who she is. She thinks she's above the law. She thinks she knows everything. She's a know-it-all. She's better than you. She looks down upon us peasants. Well, I got news for you. People like that end up in prison.
You're plebs. That's all you are to her. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, because I have the same belief that given a sufficient time, most narcissists will probably run into afoul of the law, be in jail, bankrupt, or somehow something will come down on them. The reason being is they will reach this level where they keep on thinking they can get away with more and more and more, and to push that line. Look what happened to Trump. Trump's been now indicted twice. I am sorry, but I think something's going to catch up to him. I have the whole video on the Non Sequitur show on Trump's indictment when it comes to the classifications of material, and I think if this doesn't burn him, then he's going to have to do something even much more egregious than that, which would be what, kill somebody or something? I mean, what does this man have to do?
Well, he said he could.
He said he could.
KJ, like, what does she have to do? Does she have to kill somebody? Does she have to get someone in harm's way? What more does she have to do to get charged and have it stick?
I have no idea.
Get her offline. She is dangerous. And the more people that keep sucking her ass, they're the problem.
Well, let me ask you this.
You can't wake up and see the damage that this girl is causing.
She's an actual threat.
Well, this is, and what's funny is I actually had said she was an existential threat to content creators, and she lied in her counter complaint to me. She lied and said that I said she was an existential threat on humanity. That I mean this is why this woman's delusional, because she knows what I said. I mean, it was pretty clear. It's in the tweet. This woman is an existential threat on content creators because she misuses the DMCA system. It was there. That's what I said. And she tried to tell her lawyer and the court that I had said she was an existential threat on humanity. This is delusional.
She said a lot of stuff in there that was
perjury.
It was laughable.
It's perjury.
Laughable.
But of course, people don't really get convicted on perjury. But she did break the law. She lied under her testimony. She lied. Yeah. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
A lot.
Yeah. Autistic Shill, welcome to the Without a Crystal Ball.
Hey, Autistic.
Yes, Autistic Shill, are you a Without a Crystal Ball victim? Do you think?
Okay, that's better. Hi.
Hi. Hi. You there?
A lot of Canadians in here.
Yes.
Mic problems.
I know I had both the stream and this.
Oh,
so
okay.
I keep forgetting to mute the one.
Well,
So
tell us
yeah,
about
as
your
a
experience.
Karen, and my name is Karen.
It's a killing.
the
Canadian Karen.
Nice.
we have
Yeah, I love
Karen Jarvis for KJ.
Who?
Yeah, she's Karen Joyless. KJ is Karen Joyless.
Oh, Karen Joy. Yeah, we call her Katie Joyless too. And by the way, Autistic Shill, let me again reiterate how much I appreciate you modding and that what a wonderful job you do, not just for myself, but for other content creators. And I think they all appreciate your modding. And I think Nikki, for you too.
Top line.
I think.
Yeah, she's my mod as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
We all share Autistic Shill.
We do. I mean, she's got a mod for quite a few people.
Yes. Well,
she's always busy.
It's funny because she enjoys it. She's good at it, and we appreciate that. And I get it. Some people I like to mod for too more than others. I enjoy it, and if I enjoy it, then I'm going to do it for people. So I appreciate it. But go ahead.
Awesome.
Autistic, what else did you want to add?
Oh, I'm just when I got blocked from Katie's page, that was when she was doing the stuff on Cuba. I mean, I already knew what it felt like just because, how she treats others and how it feels like just because I have that personality and maybe just because of I'm kind of like that, her in the sense where I feel it when something's happened, but the thing is that there's a difference. You lived outside of that. You didn't live it. And there's just such a difference. And I mean, she may have had something happen to her, who knows? But when she's sitting there and exposing people that are trying to get out or have gotten out, like she's exposing them, she's exposing their
in their safe houses, she's exposed them.
And these people, they don't really know. A lot of them are coming from cults, probably don't know social media that well, maybe not at all. I mean, I don't know.
And they want to trust her. I get, and so I think what you're referring to is people that communicate with her don't realize that who they're dealing with, because this person has no integrity and will show those people's DMs without compunction. Anything you say to that woman can be and will be used against you at some point if you go turn against her. It's literally the same thing that Scientologists do. It is the fair game policy. It is getting. I'm sure she has dossiers on people and folders on people, and just look. I mean, she can't remember all this stuff, so she has to. Well,
she's got over 7,000. She's got over 7,000 selfies, or 700 or 7,000, something like that. But yeah, I think so. We ended up seeing it on EKC's, like all the files she's got. She's got one on EKC. She's got literally thousands of selfies.
I don't doubt that. Yeah, I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that at all, because she has to.
That's a narcissist.
Yeah.
Time.
Yeah.
I mean,
go
ahead. Go ahead, Brandon.
I was gonna say though, all people that have gotten hurt that end up hurting others, it's a weird. It's weird to figure out why, but that does happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with having pictures here. Look, I have pictures of myself on Facebook, but I don't like taking pictures of myself that much.
I'm not.
I'm not a photogenic person, and I never claimed to be. I have pictures of me with people that I care about, but this is going over a period of. I have my Facebook from 2009, so it's been several years, So I'm gonna have a lot of photos over the time period.
I don't wheel in pictures because I don't smile.
Yeah, I'm not much of a smiler either. Everybody's like, smile, But I mean, I think when you have friends and family, you're going to generate pictures. You're going to have pictures of the people you care about, and like I said, in something that I've had for 14 years, clearly I'm going to have pictures of myself. But you don't see 7,000 photos of me. There's not that.
Yeah,
Nowhere
not like
near.
me.
I guarantee you, there's not even 100 photos about me out there. Probably, maybe 100 at most. I mean, but nowhere near the level that Katie Joy thinks. Because I remember Katie Joy thinks she's more attractive than Toddy Westbrook. That
She
could
thinks
do
she's
makeup.
beautiful.
Yeah.
She thinks that she is better than Toddy, for Christ's sake. Like,
That's
no.
bizarre. Toddy, look.
That is just.
I'm not
that's
into
how he was
I'm not
mindfucked.
into makeup, but Toddy looks good without makeup. I mean, she's just a naturally good-looking woman.
She's beautiful.
Yeah,
She doesn't even need makeup. She's one
Right.
of those girls that can actually roll out of bed and still look hot.
Right? Right? I mean, yes, I agree with you. And I think Katie Joy is very envious of that because she knows she's not. She uses filters. She uses.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I got to say her GPU is impressive because we all know she uses filters, and that filter comes off. She's fugly. I mean, she's a straight up fugly. I'm sorry, but I.
Oh yeah.
Not. I
She's
again.
very ugly.
You know. But again,
I
people.
don't use filters. I find. I mean, there's nothing. I don't like when they tint up the background. I mean, you're gonna try and use a filter. You want to kind of, cover up something a little bit,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah. And let me clarify the people out there that think that's against terms of service. No, you can call somebody ugly. You can't say something specific intrinsic about them. Like, I'm not going to talk about her hair or her teeth or anything like that. I couldn't care less.
Yeah, they're pretty obvious.
I'm not going to.
That's wrong with her.
But that's what you can't. But you TOS, you cannot attack somebody because of personal intrinsic traits like physicalities. Yeah. But you can certainly give a subjective view by saying somebody's attractive or not attractive. She's not attractive.
Not even the slightest.
Yeah.
Nope.
No. And this is one of the other reasons why I keep going back to her freaking trying to say that I sexually harassed her. I was like, I mean, it's just like, no, I'm sorry. It's, I've been told many times, you cannot say ugly people can't be sexually harassed. I'm like, I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying that why is it that the most times you see people talking about sexual harassment, they are fucking unattractive people. Why? It's
exactly.
It's not just my subjective opinion. There's an objective fact of the matter that if you go look at all these people that you see on YouTube talking about how they've been victimized as Karens and harassed almost every single time, most of them are probably not going to be considered generally attractive people for the most part. They're just odd. And so why is that? Is that, to me, it's only because they wanted to feel like they're being persecuted because they get off on it, because that's what Katie Joy does. She really does.
Victim mentality, yeah.
This is good therapeutic for me. I needed this.
Yeah, so do I, because we keep making videos on her every day, because every day she does something wrong. So every day I make a video.
I know you do, and I admire that. It's rough. You're one of the few that are still in that to try to explain to people that. So
yeah, I'm not going to stop until she's gone. And it's not going to be me taking her down. I doubt that. I'm talking about the law.
Yeah.
Or even TOS from YouTube. Yep. I'm not personally going to do that. No, I'm not going to try and do something to get her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you.
I'm playing by the rules.
I agree.
But I feel like she's coming close because, something's got to give. She's just going way overboard. Why would you go political again after last time? What a dumb fuck.
that doesn't serve us. Because she doesn't care. She doesn't care. Look,
she is an idiot. I read those messages today that she got back from her little stance there. They even turned on her and said, like,
she deleted them.
Look for you. What the fuck are you doing?
But she deleted them.
The cults.
Yeah, she deleted them. Tina has been putting those out. Tina's been
I got
collecting
them too on that video I did today.
Yeah,
I missed what was happening.
Go ahead, tell her.
Oh,
it's
she
impressive.
is going off on Trump, how he's a bad guy and he should be in jail and he's got 2 indictments or something like that. And she never mentioned the name Biden, but she was saying, well, Trump does this, others don't do that, but Trump does this, Trump did this. And she literally explained herself to a T, and it was a 2-page long run-on sentence about how bad Trump is, but it literally sounded like she was herself.
Everything about your video pointed that out. Your video.
Oh yeah.
Your video.
Every sentence, I'm like, that's you.
Have you guys watched Nikki's video?
You, Katie. And it was.
In the live chat, have you guys watched Nikki's video on this?
There's no self-awareness whatsoever.
It's spot on. It's like Katie's talking about herself. You're talking about yourself. You're talking about yourself. And she was.
Yeah.
You were absolutely right.
I missed last night's stream. I mean, I didn't even know Claire was on. I was not feeling well. It was stupid stomach issues.
Well, I hope she gets better. This was a standalone video that Nikki had. This was it wasn't even a long video.
No, it was really short. I was looking on Reddit to see, because I always get notifications from Reddit and from IG and stuff like that. So I get enough that I can make a video every day, because that's how much this lady fucks up. It's crazy. I've never seen anything.
Is that where you go? Because I know I've watched a couple of your videos, and I see you keep saying that you're, you know, you got this from Reddit, and I'm like,
Well, I have no choice because I keep getting blocked.
Why do I keep giving her views? I have to log out of my own darn account and go into a Slack account just so I can see her damn page.
Yeah.
So I'm giving her this view when it's all on Reddit anyways.
Yeah,
I'm sure
I get everything from her every day.
So Nikki,
except I haven't done I haven't commented on any of her videos lately. I think I should though. Which one was it? Oh no, I can't remember. Sorry, brain fart. But she did one that really upset me.
So Nikki,
and I wanted to comment on that. So I think I'm going to do that. I don't know why I can't remember what it's about though.
I was looking for that video and I happened to spot this one by AZ, who is suffering from the hands of Unirock. I mean, the one that's the one that supported Unirock and all the horrific things that he did and said about me and you. And this is funny because this video says this is from 8 months ago. I don't watch Decency. I can't stand her.
No, me neither.
She's just as bad as Katie Joy. Only she has other issues. But she says in the comment, I love this. I've been saying Steve McRae is a cult leader. Stop it! It could happen. Why? Look, you can laugh. You don't have to laugh that much. Okay. It gets better though. It gets better, Nikki. It says, well, I'm sure it's just coincidence that one of his newest members, Nikki 38, has pushed away anyone who's tried to warn her about Steve. So she
This is the same people that I don't know. The same people who are trying to warn me was Dom. Where's Dom right now?
Oh God!
Homeless because his house was on fire. He let his fucking animals die, all 9 of them.
What?
He left them alone for 3 fucking days.
What?
Yes, he did.
Wait. Hold on. Just Dom?
Whoa! What the?
This happened on Tuesday.
I don't know anything about this.
Just Doom? Is that what you're talking about?
Doom? You talking about Doom?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, let's.
Wow.
Everybody, what was her name? Heidi Black. She has a channel, and she had Terry Lynn on her panel.
I've seen
They were
that name.
talking all about it.
Holy shit!
His mods have all turned on him. Everybody's turned on him because he let 9 animals stay in that house alone for 3 days, and they all perished in this fire. It seems like, and he wasn't home.
Fuck, dude.
Like they're all in one spot.
Do you remember?
Because they're all dead in one spot. Yeah, there's a video.
Wow.
There's news coverage and everything.
I'm gonna look into that. Do you remember though when I made a video on an episode thing that I called the cesspool, and I called Dom out for being just a horrible person? I guess I was right. This also says in T-Spiracy, it says she also booted and blocked many mods, talking about you, just because they didn't like Steve. And I'm like, I think it's probably much more than that because you're not really known for booting people. But it's just like, so the name of this video is Getting Grimy. Cult leader Steve McRae. And by the way, AZ was like, oh, that has always been a joke. We didn't actually mean that, which is bullshit because she really did try to convince people as a cult leader. But she said,
oh yeah.
Cult leader,
she said it many times.
Yep. A cult leader, Steve McRae, convinces her that her friends are bad people. So I've convinced you that your friends.
Had nothing to do. You had nothing to do with
I know
anything. I told you they were bad.
I know.
I told you.
I had nothing. Let me put this on record, and Nikki, please speak to it. I had fuck all to do with you, and you're disassociating with certain people. You disassociated with them because of what you.
And I told you about it, and I kept bitching, and I bitched a lot about that.
You did.
I think I maybe gave you a headache.
No,
I was like, "Fuck this!"
No,
fuck
I
that,
listen to
fuck
my
him.
friends.
I was angry.
I listen to people rant when they need somebody to rant to. I'm there for them.
I needed to rant.
Yeah.
So that's how you even knew about anything. So then when AZ made that stream, I was just like, "Why don't you offer me to explain myself or ask me questions? Why can't I come up and at least try to defend myself?"
Because they don't care.
No.
The narratives that AZ, Unirock, Katie Joy, none of them care about the facts because they don't go on panels where they can be challenged. How many times have you seen people like Heels in the Air or the Good Nunya or Nonsense go on any panel that's going to give any kind of pushback? Zero. Absolutely zero. I'll go on panels. I've done it. I've proven myself, but I won't go on certain panels with people I will never speak to again. But I have proven myself, but I'm not fearful of going on a panel and being asked the hard questions.
Yeah, me neither.
You know. By the way, okay, so let's talk about this. I know this is a segue, and I apologize for the people that came here for Katie Joy, but I can't pass this up because Doom is a shit person.
He is. He's disgusting. So what I want you to do is when you get a chance, watch Heidi Black's video.
Heidi Black.
That will tell you everything. I can send you the actual news. I can send you the news clip as well.
Yes.
It was so fucking sad, Steve. Oh my God.
I love animals. I love animal lover.
Unfortunately, 6 cats and 3 dogs perished. And I knew those dogs. I used to see them when we were on Discord all the time. fucking one of his mods named herself Sheba, Queen Sheba, okay? Because of that dog. The dog was Sheba.
So Heidi Black. Doom loses it?
Just
That's 9
it's
months
her
ago.
only. It was done a couple hours ago, and Terry Lynn is on it. I warn you, it's like a 6-hour long video. So start at the 3-hour mark.
Morning Coffee, that one? Oh, is this
Yeah.
oh, okay. You know, I saw this come up. Wolf put this in a group that I was in. And he said start about 3 hours, and I saw it, but I didn't really know what he was referring to. Sorry.
Oh yeah, it's everything that
that's why I
he's
saw the
lied
name.
about.
That's why I saw the name.
And
Heidi
everybody
Black.
he's ripped off.
Heidi with eyes.
Money that he got from his mother just passed, and everything's paid for her cremation and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, he had a
literally
fundraiser.
made,
He
he made two, Steve. He took one.
He wanted
so
one for
one
$26,000 fundraiser for his mother's passing.
Exactly. But get this. He told everyone in Discord, including me, that he had $12 million from 2 lawsuits from 2 different stores, and one of them was a Dollarama. Are you fucking kidding me?
I remember people saying that he won
money?
some lawsuits. I don't know
Yeah.
I don't know the validity of that at all. But if he's so
I
rich,
didn't believe it for a second.
why does he need to
then why
GoFundMe?
isn't it paid off?
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. There are shitty people out there, and then all of a sudden, when they need help, they expect the community to help them. When somebody like myself went out of the way to help the people that needed it, and shitty people said those were fraudulent. That's the difference.
Yeah.
We were trying to help other people with our GoFundMes for the most part, right? Yes, we had ones for ourselves, sure, like my lawsuit against Katie Joy, because I wanted to help people not be taken advantage of by Katie. But for the most part, every single GoFundMe we talked about was because somebody desperately needed something, like a bed, a house, or at least a place to live. Bullinator needed a place to live. We had a GoFundMe. The community helped him for that.
He's telling people his house burned down to the ground. No, it didn't. It was a $93,000 house. It has $40,000 damage, and it's only to one part of the house. It was taken down in 20 minutes. So that was it. That was all. But yeah, all the animals died in one room. How is that possible when you have 6 fucking cats and 3 dogs?
He left them in one room together. He left them in the same room.
Yes, for 3 days.
Must have locked him in though, because
that's neglect.
Yeah.
How did
Then
they
he
know?
lied, and he said that he gave the key to the neighbor to check on them and feed them. That was a lie, because when the police officers and the fire department showed up, they're asking the neighbors, do you know what happened? Blah, blah, blah. They're like, no, we don't. He's telling the fucking officers, oh, yeah, I gave them a key.
And the
no, he
like,
didn't.
no.
He never even talked to them.
Wow.
He fucking hates them. He throws dog shit on their lawn all the time.
This guy is
so many
way
lies.
whack job. And he's the one that's floating around Queen Bee's channel and all them. Right?
Yes, it's scary.
Yeah,
the stuff that he can do. Oh my god,
he's bizarre. That's why I made a video. I called him out, basically saying, "Dude, you don't know me. You know nothing about me. Why are you even talking about me? I don't know who you are." And I haven't done anything since. I've made that one video. It was a one and done because I just want people to know I have nothing to do with this guy. He don't know me from a hill of beans. I don't know anything about him. He knows nothing about me, and yet he's spewing all this nonsense, which means that he's a shitty person. He can either change and course correct and apologize, or maybe want to learn the facts about me, or if he doesn't, he just goes on my shitty person list. He went on my shitty person list.
He's done so much damage, honestly.
Wow.
And while they're live, like, I didn't know. So from what I'm assuming and from what I'm hearing, yes, he throws dog shit on that same neighbor's lawn. He hates them. Yeah.
Yet he told the police that I gave my people, those neighbors that I hate, my key.
Right, and yet that wasn't true. So we got caught in a lie. They're still investigating it, and I hope that I'm wrong.
Animal abuse.
I fucking hope to God
Neglect?
he didn't have anything to do with this, because he went on Terry Lynn's channel, and he said that he was going to burn the motherfucker down, his house.
So you think that it might have been if he set his own house on fire, arson? He'll go to jail for that. Plus, again,
the animal cruelty.
Absolutely.
For 3 days?
Yeah, I think that's even worse. I mean, sorry, a house can.
That was the worst part.
You could burn if you want to burn down your own property. It's your property, whatever. Yes, it's against law, and I'm not saying go do it, but it's not as egregious as setting a fire to something that kills animals, pets. I have no words to describe how loathsome that is. I've had pets in my life, and they've all been taken care of to the best of my ability, to the point where they're like pampered. You know what I'm saying? I mean, my dogs never went out without food. I let them eat before I would even eat, every single time.
Exactly.
And you can ask the people that live with me that have dogs. Every dog that I've ever had was well taken care of.
Well, get this. So this is what Bliss Chris said, and they're right. She said, and he also claimed to not be.
You're breaking up a little bit.
Visit his dying mother in the hospital. This is true, because he left them alone. 6 cats. Sorry.
Yeah, get closer to your Wi-Fi.
So she says that Dom also claimed to not be able to visit. oh no, it's his fucking computer probably.
It's better now. Go ahead.
Oh, is that any better?
Yeah.
Okay. So she stated that Dom said that he was not able to visit his dying mother in the hospital, and she wasn't there, and she was dying because he couldn't leave his dogs alone. He's got 3 big dogs. One of them was a shepherd. The other 2 are mixes. I can't remember, but they're huge. Anyways, he left them alone for 3 days, but couldn't go see his mother while she was dying.
Wow.
That doesn't even make sense.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
No, of course not. I mean, again, the dude seemed to have some mental issues, and that's what I was pointing out. That look, I want.
Well, he
nothing
lies
to
about
do.
everything. Then he went asking people, "Can you donate money so I can get, I don't know, say bagels?" But he asked for coffee. He doesn't even like coffee. He hates the smell of it.
So why were people listening to this guy Doom especially when it's talking about me, when he clearly had no idea? Everything he said about me was wrong. It was just factually incorrect. Just facts that are wrong. I mean, he didn't care.
And he lies about the most dumbest shit.
What's his channel called? Just Doom or something? What is it?
Just Doom. There was something after it, but I can't remember.
No, it's not just Doom. It's something else. What's his video channel called? His YouTube channel?
Just Doom, I think.
One word, really?
Yeah, I think there was a space in between, but yeah, it's just Doom.
Like DOOM, and then I think there's like
there's something after it, but
unless it's still called just Dom as well. But...
Let me see.
Does anybody know?
Yeah, listen to this. So I've been calling Dom Norman Bates since last year because it's just what I was getting from the way he talks to his mother. You know, I've never heard his mother ever once, and I was talking with Dom for over a year in Discord every single day. Not once have nobody's ever heard his mom speak ever in 2 years, but yet he's throwing the word "see you next Tuesday" at her every 5 seconds because he hates her and he thinks he's funny.
Wow.
Just Doom / Doom the Power of Faith.
Just Doom the Power of Faith. Okay, so that is his channel.
It's just disgusting.
So,
and he was a hoarder, so those pets and that poor woman were living in complete filth.
Oh, that's
yes. I'm talking dog shit, cat piss, you name it. He smoked as well, so it was disgusting.
Yeah, look, I used to smoke it, so I know what that's like, and so yeah, that does permeate things and it stains the walls. I'm glad I quit smoking 2015. So it's been 8 years. I quit smoking. It's the best thing I ever did.
Mine's been over a year now, a year and a half.
So
get this. This is another thing that he was said. This part I missed, but I've had everybody come in my chats and everybody telling me this. So again, Bliss Chris says, I was reading a community post of his. So Dom fucking wrote this about a week ago, and she said it creeps me the fuck out. He said he was cleaning out his mom's room and he saved a pair of her bra and her fucking panties.
What?
That's some Norman Bates shit.
What?
Yeah.
That is Norman. That's psycho level stuff, man. That's
fucked up.
Wow. Did he stuff his mom or something too?
Well, you know what I always wondered? The reason why I said the Norman Bates thing and then I never heard his mother, I'm wondering if she was even alive to begin with. And she died years and years ago because how do you not hear her?
I don't know.
We've never heard her speak.
I can't even begin to fandom some of that stuff. But I
brought that up.
The reason you do is because you deal with a lot of those
people in Discord.
But you deal a lot with psychos and killers and all that crime stuff. So maybe you have a better insight to that mindset than I do because I don't.
Yeah.
But
you can even ask Hoggets when she knows his house was disgusting.
Hoggets is welcome to come in here. She can come in here.
She can tell you his house. He was a hoarder. His house was disgusting. Like the way he had. Sorry, but how did was he able to have 6 cats and 3 dogs and not filth? They should have been checking up on him.
That's a lot of animals.
Some Ed Gein shit.
That's some. So I'm.
But to keep your mom's underwear and panties, what is wrong with you?
That doesn't make any sense.
Put that on your community post for the world.
I'm reading this. May 10th, the mom does. June 6th, my animals perish. June 7th, I get told about the fire. June 9th, I get told the house is not worth the investment and everything I had, or mom can't be saved. This is the incoherent rambling of a madman.
Right?
This makes no sense.
Having 1 cat in a little box is crazy, but 6.
Well, we finally know his name now. I know his full name. I know where he lives because he would lie about that. He says he doesn't even know his own birthday. He's talked so much shit. God, you have no idea. Like honestly, I wish I would have seen Heidi on. I would went up there and she would have had me as a reference, and I could tell her and poke all the lies in his theory.
Well, that's why I said something's wrong with him. I knew that from just the little bit of dealings that I had with him. I knew he was not mentally well.
No, he's not a good person, and I feel bad for anybody else he's come in contact with. He's got 2 Discords. You want to know what he did? That Heidi Black pointed this out in our video. So he has two GoFundMes, and one of them he actually copied and pasted from another GoFundMe person about their mom dying, and he pasted it as his own. Are you fucking kidding me? That is some sick shit.
So I just saw something here from somebody that Doom had said on Terry Lynn's channel, I guess, that he was going to burn the house down prior to it burning down.
That is correct. That is correct, and that's what I was telling you earlier. That all of a sudden it's burnt. It's not burned down like he lied about. He tried to say it was burned down. It's not burned down. He also tried to say he didn't have a car, but we see it on the fucking news. That's sitting right there. Oh, and his Harley? Yeah, that doesn't exist. I could have told people that. I could have told you that he doesn't have a doggy door because he has to let them out every single time we were on Discord.
Yeah, he's a pathological liar, which, like I said, this is why I did the cesspool when I call people out like that, and I say, look, these are problematic people. And you know what's so funny, Nikki? Name one person that I have said is problematic that wasn't. Can you think of one? And I'll walk it back if you can. But give me a name.
The only people I know that we like have in common is like we only have a few people in common that we find very problematic and stuff, but it's not like, yeah, when you know something, you know something. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I think I've been pretty accurate on the stuff, and so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you have.
I had one of my mods come and talk to me about this, and I said, I go, don't feel bad for him. I said, I'm telling you, something's up, something's wrong here. Very wrong. I can feel it. I've got that gut instinct. I know it. I can't wait for this investigation to be solved because I want to know what the fuck happened to those animals.
Yeah.
9 animals.
I'm showing it right now. This is I'm showing it to the people out there. It's from Just Dom. And it says, and I'm serious, this reads like a nutter. It said, it's sad I have to take time from my grief to explain what is going on, so I will. Monday afternoon, I came down to the Ozarks to get a feel of the area and see if I liked it. I was going back Wednesday to begin packing and prepare to move in one go. He really apparently dislikes commas. I even told the neighbor to keep an eye on the place. However, sometime Tuesday, my house got fire. Okay, so you're saying that was a lie, right? He didn't tell his neighbor that. I will tell you.
Yeah, like his house did catch fire.
But yeah, he didn't. But he didn't.
Not burning down to the ground. He had to actually edit that because it got called out.
Yeah, but he didn't tell a neighbor that to keep an eye on the place. I will tell you that and I'm just, by the way, I'm getting this all secondhand. I'm just going by what you're saying. But since this guy has no credibility with me, I'm just going to go with the fact that I'm going to believe you over him and that he's lying. And I'm not doing that by fiat without investigating. But I'm just saying preliminarily, I agree with you only because I trust you. You haven't lied to me. You give you solid information. He has lied to me. So who am I having a propensity to believe? Right? It's not blind faith. You've given me reasons not to doubt you. Okay. So I said,
this happened on Tuesday, apparently.
That's what he says here. Yeah. I will tell you what I told the fire investigator. Before I left, I sent out 2 bowls of food for the dogs and a bowl of water. Then I filled 2 bowls of food and 2 bowls of water for the cats. And that was enough to last 2 days. And checked 3 times going through the house to make sure that it was secured.
I doubt.
Nothing was missed. Let me tell you this: 2 bowls of food, no,
not enough.
That's not enough for one dog, more or less.
Dogs?
No,
one of them's a shepherd. The other 2 are huge.
Yeah, no. I can tell you right now, I had Chihuahuas, and I know I'm not taking
cats.
I've had big dogs as well. Exactly. I had 2 big dogs, and they go through a lot of damn food.
Right? So that was some bullshit. That's called neglect.
Yeah,
one bowl of food,
especially not giving those neighbors those keys.
Yeah, but I know this. I mean, this is something that I just can tell you from experience. He's lying about because 2 bowls of food, no possible way is that sufficient. No, I mean, anybody who's had a dog can tell you that's BS.
It's fucking sad.
And let's see here. Okay, then it goes on to say, no, it's not normal for me to do this, but I had no choice as I had nowhere else to go. The house wasn't under my name and it is my mom's, and realistically I couldn't afford it, but I couldn't take my animals with me because there was nowhere to put them until one of the properties were fixed up so I can by the way, there's no punctuation here. So I'm going into going to Morris's life insurance to fix up the property while I packed once the property was done, I'd move and let the bank take the house back. Woo! Dude.
Then isn't that funny? He couldn't take his animal, couldn't live there no more, and then all of a sudden it's on fire.
Yeah, that.
And he said he's going to burn it down
This is some
on Terry
shady
Lynn's
stuff.
channel.
Yeah, this
I'm
should be
scared.
investigated.
I have a really bad feeling.
If he gets investigated for arson and gets put away,
It should be.
Go for it. I'd absolutely be convicted if that's the case. The fire is still under investigation, so anyone making outrageous claims of any kind, go ahead. But I can't, and I won't be talking about that until the investigation is over. That's actually smart. He shouldn't, but here he is writing things that we know is false.
Exactly.
Okay, so here's a few pointers. One, the house was never in my name, so money isn't involved. Yet he can't afford it. Yet he says he's won. I have heard people say he has won multiple lawsuits, which
he has, and he's got $12 million that are tied up somewhere. And he also said he had $50,000, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, but that was what he said as well.
Let's see here. This is hard to read. I was in the house in my name, so the money was involved. Two, they saw my bank records. 3, being on the spectrum and knowing how much the animals were my world. I never leave them in harm's way, but you did. No amount of energy will bring them back. My animals I depend on for emotional support and grounding, as I always put them first. Apparently not. 5, nothing in the house is salvageable because all of the melted plastics and melted styrofoam insulation in the house is toxic mix, so nothing can be moved and no one can go in unless it's professional cleanup team with respiratory equipment. The house is literally shut down, so let's have a rundown. This is just, oh my God. May 10th, the mom dies. June 6th, my animals perish. June 7th, I get told about the fire. June 9th, I get told the house is not worth the investment and everything I had or mom can't be saved or salvaged. Now I'm going through enough as I have a spotty service and everything is settled. I ain't talking about it no more, but he's posting this. I do appreciate help if anyone here. The hell is my Cash App or PayPal? Now I just have to go through and start over and try to cope with my animals gone. And right now I'm not doing well because you're a shitty fucking human being, Dom. You've always been a shitty fucking being, from what I understand. I called you out months ago for being a shitty person. Well, maybe this is karma. And by the way, certainly your animals didn't deserve what happened to them. That's not karmic. The fact that animals died is extremely sad. And so that's not karma.
People are really fucking, people are pissed off and they're really fucking hurt. I seen in Heidi Black's, her chat when I was watching the video tonight, there's people in there that he's made them almost like family, like he did with me, and always talking about his pets and showing them. And he does this all the time. He gets you to come in and just love the guy. And then all of a sudden it's like everything falls down. He realized he's a liar, a manipulator, this, that, and everything. There's people in that chat that were so hurt by this. They had to leave. There was a few in there. It was bad.
Well,
I felt so sorry
it's
for
funny
them.
because that's the same thing that Katie and Unirock does. They garnish people's sympathies. Real news, Entertainment Real News does the same thing. They're all people that just play on people's sympathies because people want to be sympathetic. People want to have empathy, and so people like Doom know exactly how to play on that. I mean, he's having these tragedies, and all of a sudden, here's your Cash App, here's my PayPal. I don't know.
Exactly.
It's a very bad taste in my mouth.
And to have 2 GoFundMes,
$26,000 for funeral expenses. That's just mind.
But it was already paid for, from what I understand. This was already paid for by insurance and everything. So he doesn't. Wow.
The comments don't look good either. Dom, I've been messaging you every day since you've been dealing with the tragedy of your precious mother dying, and I feel so bad for you and prayed for every time I prayed. But today I'm filled with hurt and anger towards you. Your mom's house didn't burn completely. This is Cassandra Cook.
Yep.
Your mom's house didn't burn completely to the ground. It only took 20 minutes to be extinguished. God forgive me if I'm wrong, but something is not right with your story. The only thing that you said were true is that all the babies died in that fire. We're talking about fur babies.
Exactly. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's very suspicious that there's still power in the house.
There's something wrong here.
Wow. Yeah, so people are questioning this.
And it's pretty bad that when I heard about this, I immediately had to watch it. I don't know. I just had a really bad feeling.
Hoggets, you're probably familiar with this because you had a lot more dealings with Dom than I've ever had because
she was with me in the Discord.
Right.
I don't deal with Dom. You know I don't deal with Dom.
Right. Do you guys remember, Nikki, do you remember the cats that he fostered? I don't think he ever got rid of them. You remember the whole bunch of cats that he had while we were in Discord? They were all kittens and... Do you remember that at all?
Yeah, he had they did have that. So at the end and I read the newspaper article and I watched the news and they said it was 6 cats and 3 dogs.
Right.
So one of them,
I don't think he
would know.
I don't think he ever got rid of them, and he got the puppies after he left us. Well, at least one of them.
KCG says that people shouldn't be putting it out that he did this on purpose. Well, it depends. Again, we're making connections.
I'm curious. I'm not saying he did this on purpose. I'm saying this is very suspicious.
If somebody has said days prior that they're going to light their house on fire, their house goes on fire, there's something to be said there. There might be a connection there, especially when you're dealing with somebody who clearly is not telling you the truth on certain things.
Yeah, actually, they did only one room. That's cool too.
I don't know about that. I know that they were found in close quarters, and it's just weird because if you look on the news video, it shows this house, and there's absolutely no fire damage, and it's a 2-story house. It's quite big.
Do you have the link to the investigation going on or anything? Is there?
It is in just actually if you just go on Google and put in Omaha
shared in Twitter DM.
I think it's if you go into just Google and just say 9 animals dead fire Omaha, and it should pop right up.
Well, there's one thing no one's reporting on. After Googling his address, because I was trying to find more information on it, his house was listed to be shown on the 10th of this month.
For sale. Michelle,
yes.
For sales?
Yes.
Like he put it.
Yes.
Wait. Okay. So he says
it had a realtor.
Yeah.
It had a realtor. It was due to be shown. The first showing was going to be showed 7/10.
So his mom owned the house, right?
Yes.
So his mom owned the house.
So he says. You know what? So he says. I don't believe a word that comes out of his mouth.
Oh, okay, that's fair. But I mean, according to him, the mom owned the house. But Michelle's saying that
that's why he has to leave. But that's his residence too. It would be like. You know what I mean, like a husband and wife or a boyfriend and girlfriend situation.
But if she puts it up for sale, he has to leave.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
That my landlord put his house up for sale after like 20 plus years. I lived there like 7 years. He put it for sale. Everybody had to move. I still contact the guy quite frequently. We're great friends. He's amazing person. And he really does want me to move back in with him one of these days. But I'm comfortable in California. But yeah, we had to move because he sold the house.
There's a link that was shared of a video, and they say go to the 3-hour mark and listen.
Yeah, that's
the
Heidi's.
house was supposedly in foreclosure as well.
So that's what Bliss Chris says. Now, again,
and it was.
I don't know. This is all, just
because he hasn't even paid off the house yet. He said it was in foreclosure. So basically, he wasn't paying his mother money, and that's why.
So what would be the purpose of setting it on fire then? Just spite, or
I don't know.
I mean, hypothetically, I don't know whether he did or didn't. I
don't know. I hope he didn't. I
hope he didn't either. I would hate to think that somebody that he did led to the action.
Like for all I know, he could have just had a cigarette burning, sweltering, and then that's what happened. Because it only took 20 minutes to get that fire out.
But there is a possibility that there was some kind of either intentional neglect.
Well, especially when you're telling everyone that you're going to burn it down.
Yeah.
What
Interesting.
The hell?
Yeah, again, news to me. I know, like I said, Mr. Black or the Black Wolf had put that video in a group, but I really didn't know what it was entailing. I did go to it, and I still didn't understand what I was listening to. It's just a lot of stuff out there, but this puts it in context. In context. Now I understand what was going on. So spite insurance, maybe April says. Yeah. Weird.
I'm just wondering about insurance. I don't know.
It's so amazing though that this person though associated with all the people I couldn't stand. They all seem to have these same freaking issues. It's not just coincidence that shitty people hang out with other shitty people.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind that wow. I mean this is what I wasn't expecting that for this particular stream to find out all this about Dom, who I can't imagine being anywhere near as bad as Katie Joy because she's the worst of the worst, but her and him seem to have a lot of similar personality traits.
I don't understand about him and his mom. He used to talk so much crap about his mom so bad on Discord.
He called her a next Tuesday every day.
Yep. It was bad.
See, I don't listen to him, so I have no idea.
At her.
I've just assumed
he'd yell at her, and it was horrible.
Whoa.
It was horrible. It was literally sailor's mouth. all the time at her. He would scream at her, and he thought he was funny. We would all yell at him and be like, what are you doing? It's just weird, though, because not one person, that's even if there is still Discord to this day, has never heard her voice, ever.
Let me address something.
It's
if I
very
can.
strange.
So Joyce says, however, I am saddened that this has been discussed. I don't believe in kicking a person when they're down. That's, you know what? I do.
That's not what they're doing.
But I do. I do it in a way when you're a disgusting human being and you have been unethical. I don't give a shit that you're down. I don't. I will kick you just as much as I would anybody who's standing upright.
He let those animals
because it's his fault
die there.
that he had 6 animals in a room together. That's his fault. You should be able to discuss that.
9
9. I'm
animals.
sorry, 9. You know.
Yeah.
And yes,
9.
I'm sorry that he's lost his mom. I don't know his personal relationship with his mom. That unfortunately, losing anybody losing the mom is tragic. I get this. My mom isn't going to be around much longer. She will pass away one of these days. She's 94. She can't live forever. I get that, and it's going to suck when she does.
Yeah.
I love my mom, but people have lost moms before. But when you have a fire that has killed animals, there's something to be discussed there. We're not kicking him down because he's lost his mom. That would be pretty shitty. Even
no, not at all. That is really sad.
Yeah.
Obviously I feel bad for that, but the reason why I'm so angry is that he left them alone in in a hoarded house. We all saw it.
Yeah. I like I said, this I didn't know anything about this. I'm literally news to me. I have not heard this because I don't follow any of this stuff. People think I follow stuff I don't follow. I don't follow shitty people. You know,
this was just brought to my attention today.
Well, how come you didn't make a video about it? I follow you. See,
I'm finding the most from you. When I saw that you're talking, and I'm like, because I was looking at the screenshot of GoFundMe, I'm like,
yeah,
he's asking for $26,000. We have a right to discuss that. If he's asking for the community,
especially when he told everyone on a live that he's got $50,000, and he also said that his mother's funeral and everything was paid for. So why the fuck does he need $26,000?
Yeah, how is
he
that?
He lied to everybody.
How is that kicking somebody down when you're talking about something that he himself has discussed?
Yes, and that's why people are pissed. They finally had Terry Lynn was up his ass. She was up his, he was up hers. She don't want nothing to do with him.
But you notice,
because she is angry.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's Curious Ideas backstage. One sec. Get you. You notice though something that a lot of people want to run defense by saying, "Oh, you can't talk about this. You cannot talk about somebody when they're."
We can talk about whatever we want.
And that's what the show has. I want one thing to come across when I run a show like this or the cesspool or something like that. I don't give a shit about somebody's feelings about something on a taboo topic if what we're talking about is correct. If what we're talking about is correct or at least has some reasons behind it, so even if it's supposition, but you're criticizing somebody for their actions, nobody's immune to that. I'm sorry. No. Doom is not immune from criticism because he's been such a shitty person. I have a video that I called him out for being a shitty person. He's not immune to that because he's had some tragedy in his life as a shield.
Hey, Steve, who is this person?
Who's who?
Who is this person, this guy you're talking about? Because, I mean, I was thinking about this. I came into the animal neglect stuff and a fire. And the Forest Service decided to set the forest on fire. So I know from insurance reasons that those people in my family's area that lost the house, like my family's house was completely flattened last year.
I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, we were lucky that we had insurance. They made out pretty all right. But those that couldn't get insured, because we're talking, 100, 200-year-old houses to mobile homes where you didn't have insurance. Or in the case of your house didn't get affected by actual fire, but there was smoke damage, the insurance still didn't cover that.
John makes a brilliant point here. He says you cannot threaten to burn your house down, leave 9 animals alone for 3 days. Which, by the way, he's admitted on his community page he only gave enough 2 bowls of dog food. 2 bowls of dog food.
Okay, let me just show you what I'm looking at right now. Let
me finish reading this request and go ahead. He says, and suddenly the house to catch fire and kill all aforementioned animals, then expect not to catch criticism. Exactly. You're going to get criticized for this. We are discussing what he has supposedly have said. That's perfectly fine. You're able to discuss it. Stop trying to shut down conversations about what you don't like to discuss. If you don't want to listen to something, don't listen to it. But stop telling people what is appropriate and not appropriate to discuss when what they're discussing isn't what the person's talking about. We're discussing what Dom has talked about and what has been happening.
It's his own words.
You're allowed to discuss things. Stop trying to be cancel culture. It's annoying. It really is. Not you guys in here, But anyways, go ahead. Yeah. Nobody's jumping on any conclusions. People are making suppositions based upon the relevant information that has been given to them. Perfectly fine. Yeah, I'm allowed to have Michelle on my panel.
Yeah, I'm going after what he said.
If you don't like Michelle on my panel, don't watch. I don't care. I can have anybody on my panel for any reason, any time. This is a main part of my channel that I'm known for. That I will have anybody on my channel, anybody I want, anytime. And if you don't like it, I don't care. Don't watch.
They are both
I don't care. I don't
vicious
care.
attack.
Yeah, it's just bizarre that people think they're entitled to tell me who I can and cannot have on.
Ooh.
And I haven't, by the way, I haven't talked to Michelle on a panel in what, over a year probably? Michelle?
Nobody likes.
Yeah, been on a very long time.
Yeah, but we're cordial on Twitter and we talk on Twitter.
Just occasionally, but not like consistently.
No, not consistent. No, but I mean, but who is somebody to tell me that, about having you on? I that's their problem. That's not my problem. If I cared about people thinking who I have on, I would never have anybody on because nobody gets along with everybody. And the difference is when people have people on like Katie Joy,
and that's the thing, you got to learn to swallow your pride.
Yeah, and people have Katie Joy on not to just talk to her; they have on to support her. There's a big difference. Yeah, but Doom is being supported by people, even though he seems to be actively lying about things. But explain to so Nikki, you want to do a quick one over with Curious Idea here about Doom because she was asking.
I as a animal person with 3
I
emotional support a-holes. Okay, yeah, if you want to play it and stuff, because my whole thing is I've had animals for a while, and the thing is I have also had to give up animals when I've realized it wasn't fair to them and it wasn't fair to me.
I agree. It sucks, doesn't it? We had to give up our dog. Found a good home for it though. Made sure the home was
also,
good.
So he left one of his dogs home. It was an emotional support dog that you're supposed to take with you. If you need, there's emotional support dogs. They're supposed to be with you 24/7, right? So why the fuck are you leaving that at home?
Yeah, they're not used to be alone.
The ESA is basically the emotional. I call it the emotional support a-holes, like my cats and stuff. There's a difference between service dog work, which the dog you just saw, that's what I'm working on doing with him. He's 15 weeks right now. But there's a difference between the ESA. It basically says, they help you with your mental health. You can't get charged pet rent kind of thing. But that does not excuse anybody that has that letter from neglecting. It's just like a child. It's just like anything, if you're neglecting an animal, that is animal, ABUSE.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say the word.
It doesn't matter. I don't
whatever.
Look, this video is no way going to get monetized. I'm not doing this.
Go ahead, say it.
I'm not doing it for any money. I want people to have the
straight
facts.
up but when I came into it and I'm listening to you guys talk, I don't know this backstory. I was just kind of flipping around YouTube, watching history again. But
this is news to me too.
Indian.
This is news to me too. I didn't know anything about this until just now. Even though
I don't know who
this
person is, but I've seen people that are animal hoarders that it is a mental thing. They just have to have the animals. Now, with said family that the house burned down, they had the TNR cats. Well, you know what? They're going to leave those cats in the forest, and hopefully they'll, figure it out, or they are no more.
Yeah, become feral, right?
Well, they were feral cats in the first place. They just trapped, neutered, released, kind of thing.
We have a great program here too.
Let me address this. Joyce says, "I have no dog in this race, but just an outsider." Okay, well, I don't know Dom at all. I have had interactions with Dom. I have shown that he is inept. He's just somebody who's a shit stirrer. He just wants to cause problems. He doesn't care about any facts. He says, Joyce says, Steve, but he always says he says the neighbors were watching them. That's very different.
That's untrue.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She says there's no need to shout or be so aggressive. I'm not aggressive at all. But we've had evidence from Nikki here saying that when they did the investigation, the neighbors were saying we don't even know what he's talking about. We were never asked to watch the animals. There's conflicting stories there.
And just do Muggets. He used to be a mod for Roadhog. That's who we're talking about.
Yes, exactly. That's the only reason I even heard of him before. Joy, I can state my feelings without raising my voice, but if I choose to, I will raise my goddamn fucking voice. If you don't like that, fuck off. I'm dead serious about this. I really detest tone policing. If you think that I'm tone policing, or that you're going to tone police me, that I can talk about things without raising my voice, sure I can, but I choose not to. That's my decision. Stop. I'm serious. Nobody likes people that tone police. It's so annoying, right? Your opinion is valid, yes, and you're allowed to say your opinion. Oh, okay. So now it's the persecution. My opinion is valid as anyone else's. I can see my opinion isn't welcome here, though. No one said that.
Wow.
No one said your opinion isn't valid. But you're going to get pushback for having opinions that differ from other people. You're going to have pushback when you say things like you shouldn't raise your voice, or you can state your feelings about raising your voice. Who the fuck are you to tone police people on how they present their argument? Don't do it. It's annoying. People don't like it. So yes, you can have your opinion, but we can have our opinion. Behavioral. Yes, we can say that your opinion is bullshit. Okay, so yes, you're allowed to have your opinion, but it's annoying and we don't like it. There you go. Stop.
Well, everybody has an asshole, you know. Yeah. Opinions are like assholes. Whatever the saying is.
I don't even know how to get across to certain people. I mean, look, and I'm not trying to pull like a. You know, I know Queen Bee is very aggressive in her approach and things like that. It's nothing like that. It's I'm sick of being told how to put forth things like you shouldn't be so aggressive, shouldn't use insults, you shouldn't have raise your voice. That doesn't talk about the actual issues. It's all personal, and I'm really sick of personal attacks because they're just what's called repressive tolerance. It's just a way to shut down dialogue. It doesn't talk about the actual topic. If you want to talk about the topic, talk about the topic. But when you're talking about personal attributes about a person who's relating their opinion to people, then you're not talking about the topic any longer. You're talking about personal things about people, which are irrelevant. So my speaking loudly is irrelevant to the topic.
Is that called meta? She's getting into the meta of this.
A little bit meta. But I just want people.
My whole thing is like I'll switch a channel. Like if I don't like feel with some opinion that's happening on some channel, the easiest thing for me to do as the viewer is to switch the channel. Part of it, I think, is trolling. They're just trying to get you triggered, Steve. And sometimes you might just need to not look at the chat in that sense and have somebody else let you.
No, see, here's the thing. I don't get triggered. I don't care. The chat doesn't bother me. I like the chat. And so if people want to say things like that, they're more than welcome to. But I will deal with it accordingly. I don't know what I'm listening or looking at here, Nikki. And also, I know John Foley's in the background there. Sorry, John. I'll get you in as soon as I can. I promise. I'm going to have 6 people here, though.
I'm gonna pop off, man.
I can pop off.
I was gonna.
Yeah, I gotta deal with the monkey. I gotta deal with my monkey puppy. Y'all have a good rest of your night. I just wanted to pop on about the neglect on animal, and it could be an insurance thing, but it could also be a fraud thing if the guy intentionally tried to set the thing on. But I have no skin in the game. I just got irritated with the whole neglecting of animals. All right, you all have a good night.
I actually would love to talk to you about training with animals with or husky puppy someday.
Yeah, hit me up. I'm not the best. We'll see how I'm dealing with this dog. But y'all have a good night.
All right, thank you, Curious. Good night.
All right,
bye.
Let's see here.
Trying to leave here. Hold on.
There we go.
Okay. Hey, John.
There you go.
Evening, morning, good day, everybody. How's everybody doing?
John, you are not a victim of Katie Joy, though.
No, absolutely not a victim of Katie Joy. I just wanted to quickly interject on, similar to Curious, who just left, the animal abuse thing, leaving the animals alone for 3 days, expecting them to sort of somehow manage to muddle through without, with borderline sentience and no opposable thumbs with 2 bowls of food. I mean, what the fuck was that person thinking?
Well, again, they said that they'll have the neighbors watch them, but again, that's still, you cannot rely on that. First of all, certain people do go away for a couple of days. I get that. And they have a larger house or a backyard, but they have what's called feeders. And these feeders...
Yeah, like an automated feeder that dispenses food at timed intervals or whatever,
And get the expensive one. If you're going to get a feeder, get one that actually works with electronics. Don't get the gravity ones. They don't work with a dam. They don't work very well. And plus, the dog's going to overeat if it does work too much. So you really want to get one that actually has electronic feeding. And which is perfectly fine. I get that. But this doesn't seem like that this was the case here.
God, I feel bad just leaving our dog when we have to take Steffi to school, but they want me to bring her in.
I mean, it's 5 o'clock in the morning for me. Just as a for instance, the only reason that I knew this stream was going on is because my my dog, we have a beagle, and he woke me up because of his howling, because he detected there was a fox in the back garden that was having a go at our chickens. So we're big animal people, and the solution to the chicken problem was just to let the dog, and the howling problem was just to let the dog out the house. And then I noticed the stream was ongoing and somebody was talking about animal abuse.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, again, this is a demonetized video, anyways, because again, we talk about taboo stuff. But let me reiterate that this channel is 100% against any form of animal abuse. I think people that abuse animals are just pure evil, incarnate. I think. I'm the one of the people that think that dogs are better than most people. I mean, seriously, they're loyal, they're loving. I
value the life of my dog over a significant number of people in this world,
yeah,
either because of ignorance of not knowing them, or because I determined that person is just a shitty person.
Right. No, I get it. I totally understand. Fur babies are people who have strong connections to their animals. Well, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm wondering about that too. I'm a big animal person.
But it's also
FaceTime mine every time I leave.
I have done that before with my dog. But the thing that I find amazing is that my dog is, as far as I'm concerned, morally superior to some people on this planet, and he likes nothing more than dropping his shoulder into a steaming pile of fox shit. So the fact that that's the case,
that's a good puppy. That's a good puppy.
It's kind of a scathing indictment of humanity, really.
That really is, right? So by the way, Nikki, your video is Katie J now attacks Rachel Denhollander, loses subs to Trump rat. That's the one that we were talking about earlier, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna put that in the video description so people watch that later as well, because I love promoting other channels. I do.
You want to watch that news clip and then we'll get off the Dom topic?
What's the news clip? Let's tell me, and I can try. The one from your channel?
It's right here. I put it on the screen. Oh no.
Oh, you got okay. Let me. Well, we got 6 in here now, so I can't share it.
I'll go ahead. I'll drop down.
Oh well, I could do that. I'm good.
Let me. Nikki's video.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Thank you.
Here we go. There's 4 of us.
All right, I got it. All right, add to stream. Let me see if I can share. Let me see if give me 1 second.
Yeah, there is a video there.
Yeah, let me see. How can I share this to the outside? Can you click on the video, or I have to do it? Because I got to be able to hear it.
I think you have to do it.
No.
Or.
Yeah, it might not be able to the way I have this. Just do it on your channel and I'll watch.
Video.
I'll send everybody over to your channel for this kind of stuff. Do you guys want to watch?
Okay, well, here's this. Listen to this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, listen to what it says. It says 9 animals are dead after a house fire in Omaha. The Omaha Fire Department responded to the scene near the area of 45th and Emmett Street late Tuesday night. A working fire was declared, but quickly brought under control. While searching the home, firefighters found 6 cats and 3 dogs dead. According to the officials, the homeowners were not home at the time and they do not know their whereabouts. The investigation into the case of the fire is ongoing. The neighbors didn't have the keys.
Yeah, well, Joy says, just to be clear, I thought he meant the neighbor was inside the house watching them. No, I don't think Dom in anywhere said that. I think Dom said, according to Nikki, he gave the neighbors the key and told them to check in on the dogs. Right? Yeah. But again, the
I'm going to try and find that video because it's... Okay, I got the video.
The point being is, how do you have 9 or 10 animals in the same room? You don't leave 9 or 10 animals in the same room together for days. It's just, you just don't do that. Anybody who knows animals knows they will tear everything up.
No,
there'll be shit everywhere. They're not accustomed to being locked into rooms for extended period of times like that.
They already chewed the shit out of the house.
Well, we've got 2 cats and a dog. And the cats get on fine, the dog gets on fine. We introduced them all when they were young pups and kittens and things, so that they're all pretty well acclimatized to one another. And I can shut all 3 of them in a room, like for example, if we've got the front and the back door open and I'm working and I'm ferrying stuff through the house, maybe for an hour and a half, possibly. The notion that you're going to shut 6 cats and 3 large dogs in one room, regardless of the size of the room, and they're going to be okay for 3 days, whether there's enough food or not, is just bonkers.
Yeah, no pet owner would ever do such a thing. No, it just doesn't make sense.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, pet owners do such a thing, but no reasonable pet owner or a responsible pet owner would do such a thing.
Fair point.
The other thing I just want to touch on as well is the notion that of sort of what you can and can't speculate on. There's reasonable speculation, and then there's unreasonable speculation, and then there's reasonable accusation, and then there's just defamation.
Correct.
To speculate on something that they themselves have said, or when you're reading from sort of like, a fire marshal's initial report or a news article, it's in the public domain. It's a YouTuber who has put themselves in the public domain. If this was just a random private person who wasn't a YouTuber or hadn't put themselves quote themselves on blast by putting themselves on YouTube, then there might maybe be a case for that.
100%. I couldn't agree with you more.
That's definitely not the case here. And again, in terms of opinions, you're absolutely entitled to your opinion to think that, well, maybe we should or shouldn't be discussing this.
Right. But here's the thing. We're not going around saying that, hey, Dom started a fire and lit his house on fire. Nobody's saying that. That would be irresponsible. Yeah. That would be saying things as fact that aren't. Now, you can speculate because he had said that, hey, look, I'm going to set my house on fire, and 3 days later it gets on fire. There could be speculation, but that's all it is. But you have to let people know you're speculating. There's nothing wrong with that.
Also, but it's like if I come on this channel and I went, I want this guy's an irresponsible dog owner. I wonder if he fucked the dog too. That's unreasonable speculation.
Right.
But leaving the dog alone in a room for 3 days when they've said that's what they did, it doesn't even really count as speculation.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they said, and
it's recounting what they've said.
And the investigation seems to affirm that. There's nobody that's investigating who's denying that part of the story. Yeah.
Yeah, but again, just to be clear, the opinion that we probably shouldn't be discussing it is an equally valid opinion. You're absolutely entitled to that opinion, and you can vocalize it, and we can in turn disagree with it.
Right, but I can also say, yes, you don't have to discuss it, and you can have a channel to discuss it or not discuss it. What you can't do is tell other people not to discuss it or try to interject how you think things should be discussed. Sure, you can give your opinion, but we can definitely say that we disagree with your opinion on that. I don't like tone policing. I find it to be one of the most base forms of counter argumentation because you're not addressing the argument. You're addressing the way it's being presented.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, it does depend on. So, just as a for instance, like the recent discussion that we had with regard,
yeah, then it comes into play. That tone policing comes into play because that was over the top.
Well, and also arguably the objective of a debate is to convince as many people as possible of your position. And if you're part of the target audience that is trying to be convinced, and you go, actually, because of the way you're presenting this, I'm finding it very difficult to agree with you, then you're actually giving legitimate feedback.
Yes, and that's when tone policing would be appropriate because you're saying, look, the way you're presenting it, I'm not understanding it. That's different than saying, hey, you shouldn't raise your voice. I mean, give me a break. And I'm not trying to, Joy, I'm not trying to come down on you. I'm really not, honestly. I appreciate you listening and being, able to give your opinions. But you have to understand that most of us are sick and tired, and I'm definitely not applying this to you, Joy. I'm really not. But we are sick and tired of flying monkeys of Katie Joy coming over to try to shut down conversations. And it just sickens me that people run that kind of defense, and I'm not saying Joy's doing that. I'm not. So if I was a little bit crass with you, Joy, I do apologize. I really mean that. I don't apologize very often. So when I do, take it to mean something, because I do apologize if I was a little bit over the top. But I just want people to understand that I do take it very offensively when people start telling me how to tone, how to present something. It just bothers me. So. Maybe it's a shortcoming I have, and if it is, I'll accept it as constructive criticism. But, anyways, yeah.
I derailed things a bit there. Sorry.
No, it's cool. I don't mind. I just this whole hangout has been derailed by the Doom discussion, which is fine because I think it's appropriate because Doom has a lot of things in common with Katie Joy. I mean, it started off with this poll about Katie Joy, does she exploit her child or other children? And right now it's 16 votes. 93% said yes to both. 6.3 said yes to one, but not to other, which I'm not quite sure how you get that, because we know she exploited many other children to get where she is. I mean, the whole Duggar situation, you know?
Well, my familiarity, I mean, I've not been following Katie Joy Paulson recently, mainly because I found absolutely no value in her content whatsoever. But the last time I had anything to do with her was back in the sort of KJP uni rock non-sex show being burned down by Kyle days. You know, that's when I sort of followed her. But I always wondered, like, you know, obviously we've got Munchausen's and there's Munchausen's by proxy. Is there somewhere sort of like in between where you've got a person who doesn't cause the suffering or cause the injury to the third party, but they opportunistically latch onto people who have...
I've heard variations of that, of Munchausen, yes.
So sort of like a Munchausen's by proxy, where they're not actually causing harm to the third person themselves by poisoning them or abusing them or injuring them or whatever, but they just happen to latch onto a person who just has shit life conditions.
Yeah.
Or they you know.
Somebody brought that to my attention because Katie Joy lied about this as well. Katie Joy said that I was going around saying that she had Munchausen by proxy. Go back and watch any of my videos. It was not me saying that. Leslie Bass has said that, and I actually said I don't agree with it. But I haven't looked too much into Munchausen by proxy, but it didn't seem like that's what she was doing, because I thought...
Yeah, I don't think she has that either, to be honest.
Well, hang on. Munchausen by proxy, I thought, was strictly somebody who actually keeps their kids sick in order to get, personal gratification from it, right? And I don't ever think that Katie was making her kids sick or potentially or purposely making her kids sick. So I thought, okay, it's not Munchausen by proxy. However, I've subsequently have learned through other people that there are other forms of Munchausen by proxy where even though you're not making the kid sick, you are still exploiting it. For example, her putting her kid in a wheelchair and taking photos and saying, "Oh, look, he's outside and the kid can walk." It seems a little exploitive. Maybe a kid does need a wheelchair, maybe a kid doesn't. But the point is that the way she presents it is exploitive, where she wants sympathy, because everything that she ever posts about her child isn't about her child, it's about her. She's getting something from it every single solitary time.
It's the weaponization of victimhood and the subsequent sympathy that comes with it.
Correct.
So in the same way as we're seeing in our society these days, a lack of personal accountability and wanting to, don't get me wrong, there are some groups in our society that are persecuted because of sort of like a group or a class that they belong to, but there is also another subgroup in our society that belong to a group that has probably historically been marginalized, and they're claiming that the marginalization still continues today, and that's why they've got a shit life. But then you do a deep dive into their life and you find out that they drink heavily, they smoke heavily, they gamble heavily, and that's why they're fucked financially. It's not because they're Irish or Jewish or
drugs is a big thing. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And
yes,
so there's this sort of vogue of late of trying to cast yourself as a victim or hard done by, and then monetize the sympathy that
society has been
that.
So bad to me, even though you've made life choices that have not been good.
Yeah.
And by the way, everybody goes through this. Look, everybody has probably, we've all drank too much all the time. We've all probably gambled too much. Sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. I don't particularly like going to the casino. I haven't been to the casino in a very long time. Once last year I went for like 20 minutes. But I mean, I'm just not a fan of gambling. But it doesn't mean other people can't do it. But as Statistic Shell says, Munchausen by internet. I actually had that term a long time ago. I actually said Munchausen by internet. Come to find out, I think GadSad had actually came up with that first. So there is a link on Munchausen by internet, but I think GadSad was the one that came up with that. But I had said the same thing, Munchausen by internet. Katie Joy does Munchausen by internet. Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
I think it's the same. It's the same psychological drivers. It's just anytime you put anything, any attribute that a person has in contact with the internet, it just magnifies it, doesn't it? It's like it's a force multiplier.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think it really does.
She made that Trump post and she got shit for it. So then she made a post about her son saying, "Can't believe it's been 5 years today since he had to shunt his brain." Yep. Every time she's in hot water.
And every single time somebody said, "Oh, that's her playbook," because that's exactly what she does. And it's so funny because
we all know her
but here's the thing: she doesn't care if she alienates her base, because she will always find new people that she can grip from. She realizes she is a cockroach and she survives. right?
I'm amazed her base
though?
has. I'm amazed her base has.
Like her ratio. Somebody actually went onto a different website, and it showed what without a crystal ball the channel like how many bots and stuff. She's got 80% bots and 20%
It doesn't surprise
real.
me. Yeah, I don't think she has a lot of legitimate interactions.
Oh, I agree. I totally believe it. And I was looking at it, I said, yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. But nobody interacts with her.
But remember her saying that, I was buying subs? She knows damn well I have never bought sub, nor I would ever buy a sub. Katie Joy knows.
She blamed it on you, but she was the one doing it.
Right, and this is what I'm saying. She usually does exactly what she blames on other people.
It's deflection. She blames other people.
She knows damn well I've never bought a sub. Unirock knows damn well I never bought a sub. However, they are easily to throw those accusations out there. But
I still don't understand how you do that and how that's not against TOS. I don't get it.
I don't know if it is or isn't. I've read different things, but I have no idea. I've never asked anybody how to do it. I've never seen it in our
little write-ups or anything that we get.
I've heard you can buy comments, but I don't know how you buy subs. I would no idea how you begin to do that.
I'm sure we can Google it, but it's like, where do you actually go to buy subs, and does that count as your views? I mean, how do you make a bot watch you?
And why would you want to?
Yeah, like I don't. Just for the feeling, I would love the feeling of knowing I'm growing my channel organically, not knowing 80% of my fucking followers are bots.
Yeah, it's weird. It's just I don't know why you would want that. That's just to me as narcissist. If you have to like pay for subscribers, you've got a problem because you're not doing it organically. And two, why would you want fake numbers? I don't understand how that does anything.
You might as well just scream into the ether.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything. I'd rather have one viewer than 100 bots.
Yeah, it's I don't understand.
Misty's going to bed. Good night, Misty. Yeah, come on sometime. It's been forever since you've been around. So get some sleep. A couple people are talking about Mormon. I was, of course, Mormon when I was 17. I don't think Mormonism is a cult personally, at all. I have obviously been around Mormonism for a very long time. I saw nothing cult-like about Mormonism. They just have some different beliefs.
How the hell did I not know that you were a Mormon?
I have no idea. You never asked.
No, but I've literally been following you for
I was baptized Mormon
5 or 6 years.
Yeah, I've talked about this before.
I didn't know. I must have just missed it. I didn't know.
I left the Mormon church because in 2008 they were fighting against the proposition for gay marriage, and I was like, why would a church get involved with this? Separation of church and state. Why are they funding against gay marriage? What is this? Why? And I had already stopped going years before that, but that was the deal breaker to go. Look, if God is the head of this church, God has got some major issues. Well,
it's interesting.
It doesn't say anything like that in the Bible, right? Like, so why is the church?
It doesn't say anything. It doesn't say anything against gay marriage. It does say anything against sexual. It does say things against sexual relationships between
in the Old Testament,
2 men.
But not the New. At least as far as Jesus has never said anything about it.
Okay, so they can't have sex, but they can marry?
I don't know. It's so confusing. When you start wrapping your head around what you think the Bible says, you're going to have problems.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. That's why I've never read it.
You never read the Bible?
I started to. It's too much of a mind fuck. I can't do it.
Really? Not even the New Testament.
I find that is.
Oh, see, I read
the one I was starting.
I read the New Testament.
I read part of it, but then it was too much brain overload. It was too much philosophical, mystic, magical bullshit. That
there's a lot of shit in there.
That makes sense. Yeah, and when it came to something that actually made sense, it was like reading 60 pages with one page editor that made sense.
You know what's worse?
Okay, I'm not doing this.
You know what's worse? The Book of Mormon.
What? Really?
Book of Mormon has got to be the most boring book I've ever read in my life, and I've read it 3 times. Dragon May Mama says you were born. So you were Mormon too. I was born in the church. I wasn't born in the church. But I'm sure then if you were born in the church, you've read the Book of Mormon, and I know Aaron Ron, a bunch of people have done a lot of YouTube videos on the Book of Mormon. I will agree with them. It is one of the most boring things of all time. It makes no coherent sense.
Wow, I didn't know.
I get what they were going for, but whoever wrote the Book of Mormon just has expository over expository over expository that never gets anywhere. It says the same shit over and over. Yeah, it's just, it's just nothing of value. And then people are being told, the Book of Mormon can get you closer to God than any of the book. Why? What precepts in it that is that valuable? There's nothing in it that is any consequence.
And they say that about every religion, don't they, though? If you're a Christian, this. If you're not, this. Like, it's just, I just think, you know what? Believe in what you want to believe in. You don't have to go by these rules.
I agree.
You don't have to exactly do what the Bible says. Like, come to your own conclusion and live how you want to live.
Yeah, look,
That's how
that is be in a nutshell. Look, people, you know, when people were saying that you and I one time were like anti-Christian, and we're like going, what the hell are they talking about?
Yeah.
We're not anti-Christian.
Yep. I'm not anti anything. I'm saying my belief, I don't have a belief. And that should be okay for everyone. You know what I mean? Just because I don't believe doesn't mean I'm an asshole or anything. I prefer just to keep that shit away from me.
I'm not a Christian.
Not shit. Sorry, I apologize.
But the people that are Christian, I'm like, if it helps you and you believe it, I don't care. I'm not an anti-theist.
Exactly. And I've got really good friends that are Christian who are everything. And, you know, they don't preach the Bible to me or anything. Like, they'll say certain things and it's like, I know you tell they're Christian. It's cute. But I'm just like, nah, it's not me.
April makes a point. She says, she says, I think the Apocrypha is probably worse than the Book of Mormon. I disagree. I think the Apocrypha actually is interesting.
That?
The Apocrypha, those are the books of the Bible that wouldn't put in, that the Roman Catholic Church has, but don't consider them canon. The apocryphal writings, they're fast. I think the Book of Enoch is one of them, and it is actually fascinating. I don't find it worse to be the Book of Mormon at all. I find that like the Gnostic writings, if you read the stuff like the Pistis Sophia or on origin of the world,
yeah, I'd like to
fascinating.
read those. That sounds interesting.
They're super interesting because they take a very different perspective than the mythos of Christianity. And if Gnosticism would have won out in between the 1st and 4th century, people wouldn't be Christian. There'd be Gnostics now. It's only because Christianity was pushed more and became the prevalent belief. But Gnosticism was a competing belief on the origin of things at the same time Christianity was. And I find that to be a very interesting mythos.
That's like yesterday. I watched Shiny Happy People, and then I watched Keep Sweet with Warren Jeffs, and then I'm on this new show, and it's about cults. And it's got 4 episodes and these 2 seasons that's on. So I've been watching this. I've been learning quite a bit, and I'm telling you, wow. But anyways, I learned from this one guy. So he says that he became the so-called prophet, and his logic was it was called reorganized Latter-day Saints. Okay.
Kind of like fundamental Latter-day Saints.
Yep. Yeah. Only it was reorganized. And what their Bible, they had their Bible is they would use the first verse and the last verse and scratch off everything in the middle. That's how their Bible went. I'm like, no. So it could, the first verse could be, you cannot, kill your father, and at the bottom would say, but do what your heart says is right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Whenever I hear things like reorganized or fundamental or ladder, it's like there's so many tens of thousands of denominations, and obviously
that's my very first church that I had to go to all the time was the Church of Latter-day Saints, and it scared the fuck out of me. I'll never
really.
I
actually enjoyed it. I actually like the social stuff, but I was a Californian most of the time. The Utah, let me tell you, the Utah Mormons and the California Mormons are not quite the same. Utah Mormons are a little more stuck up, a little more haughty, a little more looking down on people. This is from my own personal experience. Right? But Californians, they're
very litigious.
They can be litigious. Yes, they're not as bad as Scientologists, but they can be litigious, especially when it deals with the Salt Lake Center.
The funny, Scientologists hire fucking hitmen to go after people. They're worse.
Yeah. They're dangerous.
The funny thing about that religious, the organization that you were just describing, where they use the first verse, the last verse, and lift it and remove everything from the middle. If you follow that paradigm to its end, then you essentially end up with a religious book that's a front cover, a back cover, and nothing in it, which is sort of the content of all of them. I mean,
it was just it was crazy to me just to even fathom how anyone would even take their own Christian Bible and be like, okay, so we're only allowed to, and they were torn out and scratched out. They were only allowed to read the first verse and the last on that paragraph, and that was it.
That's bizarre.
To be revisionist over the quote unquote perfect word of God is
and it was called
yourself in
reorganized reorganized
because a couple hundred years later it takes reorganization to have the truth. It wasn't the Christians originally didn't have the truth, but the Mormons didn't have the truth, but no, they didn't have the truth either. It was the reorganized truth. It's like how many different variations and restructuring do you need to actually understand what God's word is? If God's word is that confusing, you got a problem.
There has to be thousands of them at this point.
Oh, there's got to be with all these so-called prophets.
So Shiny Happy People, I couldn't sit through. No offense, and I applaud anybody who can. And I'm sure it was a good documentary.
It was really, really sad.
Sure, but I couldn't watch that. I don't like that kind of stuff.
Eye-opening.
But
I think it's a good for just even.
Are you talking about the REM song, or is it a show?
No, it's a documentary about the Duggars. I'm not interested in the Duggars, and I just it's nothing that interests me, and I don't like. I don't know. I feel for the people. I feel for the families. I really do, and I just don't watch that kind of stuff. I rather watch more uplifting stuff. That's just me, though.
I'm the same way as you, but when I first started it was more everything about the cult. It was not even focused on all the Duggars, really. It was more how the relationships kind of were, and how Jim Bob and Michelle, I believe, should be in jail now.
Yeah.
For what they did to those kids. They literally made the two daughters.
There's a brainwashing.
By the way, Shiny Happy People by REM, completely misunderstood song. It's actually really dark.
I'm sure.
And people are like, oh, this is such a feel-good song. It's not a feel-good song.
Joy's going to sleep real quick. Joy says, Steve, thank you for engaging and explaining. I'm just coming off a long 12-hour shifts. Oh, those are horrible. So I do apologize for my words earlier. That's why I even said I don't think she is either, and I apologize to her. And we can have productive dialogue. So thank you, Joy, seriously, for dropping by. It sucks having 12-hour shifts. I've been there, done that. Hopefully never again. But you really don't need to apologize for anything. Trust me, you don't, Joy. It's just a live chat stuff. But you did nothing wrong. All is good. So you don't need to apologize. Seriously.
No, he gets this every night.
I do. Exactly.
That's why he gets so kind of like about it, because he's always attacked.
Yeah. So
I would be too.
Definitely don't need to apologize. I just appreciate you coming around, Joy, having conversations, and the fact that you took what I said not personally, and we were able to discuss anything, shows to me that you're an honest person, because a dishonest person doesn't do that. So I appreciate that. That's what I like to see. I like to see people like Joy say what they had to say. I say what I had to say. We can come to a meeting of the minds, and everybody's happy. That is productive dialogue. That's what I thought.
It was good for everyone to be adults and to have an audience that is responsive.
Right. Now Heat Shield and Himamaki, fuck them both, but whatever. I'm kidding. Himo and Heat Shield. I'm just going off. Steve, do you hear? Steve went off with his mods last night. He lost his shit. Oh my God. He was just attacking his mods left and right. Yeah, I wouldn't do that to April because I'm just scared of her.
She will fuck you up, man.
She will find me. Yes, I'm scared of her.
Steve's clearly on a meth bender. He's off his rocker.
I'm on a bender. Oh yeah. April and I we don't agree on a few things, which is fine. I love that. I want my mods.
It's a rite of passion to be a passage.
I've never yelled at you. I wasn't yelling. But it's so funny because people are such thin-skinned that they can't take personal attacks sometimes when they're even justified. But it's just like, really? But Joy could, and I appreciate that. So that's nice. I do like to see that. I really do.
Yeah.
Best way to defend yourself against personal attacks: attack yourself first, and then there's nothing they can take away from you.
Yeah. Well, it does weed out the dishonest people, though. It honestly does.
I'm the first one to talk shit about myself. I know I'm an idiot.
Yeah. Well, you're just a weird. You're just kind of weird.
Sound like me.
Yeah.
Well, and also by virtue of being a Brit, I have a self-deprecating.
Yeah, but I love Brit self-deprivation.
Yeah, you guys hate yourself, and I love that about the Brits.
Is very mean.
Oh my God,
British humor's so mean.
I just watched something on British humor that was hilarious. Did you see the little?
You guys could be so mean.
Did you guys see the little clip I put on Twitter though? It was absolutely hilarious.
Check it out.
It was British humor to the finest, and it was a guy. He was looking at this office, and the office had a sign on it that said accountant wanted, 35,000 to 45,000, right? And so the guy calls up, and he's like, in his British accent, maybe John could do the British accent, but he's just like, yeah, I'm calling about your advertisement for an accountant. The answer is minus 5,000 pounds. You don't need an accountant. The answer is minus 5,000 pounds. And I'm like, because it's like 35,000 to 40,000 for the salary, but it looks like 35,000 pounds minus 40,000 pounds. So he's just calling up. He's like, yeah, you don't need an accountant. The answer is negative 5,000 pounds. That to me was British humor. That was brilliant. So
I'm a huge fan of Jimmy Carr. I saw him at the Wilbur in 2017.
I like Jimmy Carr.
Boston. He's great.
He's dry. That's why I like him. I like dry British humor. I really do.
Yeah, and he has that inward laugh where he's like, ha ha.
Mm-hmm. I like it when it's directed at other people. Now, when I get into with people that use the British humor on me, I like cry.
Why? Because you don't get British humor?
I get it. It's just so damn mean, and I have to keep reminding myself they're joking. That's how they joke.
Well,
that's how they joke.
Carr is mean. Carr can be pretty blunt, but I think that's what
there is some Brits that are.
He inspired me to do stand up when I saw him when I was really young.
Yeah, it's just a different style. I happen to like his style.
Yeah.
People know what. See, but the thing is when you go to a comedy routine and you have somebody like Carr, you know what you're getting yourself in for, right?
Yeah.
If you don't, then you're in the wrong venue.
Best comedy routine I've ever seen, though. Also at the Wilbur in Boston, Sinbad. That guy puts in the goddamn work.
Yeah.
He stayed 40 minutes longer than his set was supposed to take, and like half of it was just like him improving and talking about. He was like, you know how fucking racist Boston is and shit like that. It's a lot more racist than you think.
Improv is the I think one of the best form of comedy when they're just on the fly. You know.
I love Sinbad. He's wearing the ugliest shirt I've ever seen in regular Sinbad style.
April says that Carr's not that dry. Maybe his deadpan is a better way. I mean, it is dry to an extent, but I think he's just so deadpan in his delivery.
Yeah, deadpan. I mean, Jack D's quite a dry comic, although he's probably not as well known in the States as the likes of Jimmy Carr. He never got sort of quite as big. But if you're looking for sort of like
Jimmy Carr's huge.
Yeah, but if you're looking for like a savage comedian that does like absolutely savage crowd work, then Frankie Boyle, who's a Scottish comedian, he was just absolutely outrageous. Funny but outrageous. He's gone sort of off the woke deep end of late. But
I
just
like
as a
crowd work.
Well, just as a for instance, like I mean, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if he was responsible for some mental breakdowns where people have sort of like heckled him, and he's just like melted them.
I only do crowd work. I never do it right. And like first,
well, just hang on a sec.
Oh, yeah, go on.
Frankie Boyle did this thing where he like there's just this young lad in the front of the front row of the crowd, and if you sit in the front row of a Frankie Boyle, you're catching flack. You're going to get some on you. And he just looks at this kid and he goes, "Oh, how you doing, Frodo?" And the kid looks at him and like shrugs. He goes, "Oh, I don't know why I called you Frodo. Maybe because it looks like you've had your ring destroyed." And that was just like a young kid in the front row of this. He must have been like 16, 17, and that was his like go-to opener for a bit of crowd work.
I always start a show by finding the one person that I can tell I can embarrass the most, that I can see from the stage lights, and I'll just point to them and I'll be like, "You," and I'll just dig into them, and that's how I started the show.
Do you ever watch Key and Peele? Where the episode where where Key was up there and he's doing stand-up work, and he's basically working the audience and criticizing them, and then he shows a Peele in a wheelchair with all these massive burns on his face with one of those voice changers like this because he has to speak like this, and he's like, "Insult me. Do me, make fun of the burns." And so he starts like, insulting him, and the whole crowd turns against him. It's like, "Oh my God, you're insulting somebody who has facial disfiguration from burns." And he's like, "The tears, they burn." It's freaking hilarious. It's so apropos too, because you have to be very careful.
I know what they're making fun of. Actually, I remember that commercial. Growing up, all I could think of was baseball. It was like some guy with laryngitis or something like that.
No, you have a electronic voice thing. If you're like people that smoked a lot or had tracheotomy or whatever, you put it against your voice thing like this. So
yeah, they gotta tug out some of your vocal cords.
But it's the point was being that comedy work. You have to know where that line is. But if you're going into a comedy club, you're going to be subjected to some verbal abuse. That's what you go in there for. I've been to comedy clubs. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, if you go into a comedy club, and you come out the other side, and you're offended, then you probably shouldn't be going to comedy clubs. But just as a for instance, like Jimmy Carr specifically, the way a lot of these comedians work is they do sort of discounted, like super cheap ticket nights, and it's where they're trying out new material. Now, my dad, when he was this was the early days of when he was dating, who eventually turned out to be his second wife. my dad bought tickets for going to see Jimmy Carr because he'd seen him on like the BBC and ITV and stuff. And his stuff is obviously quite tame when it's on national television. He'd never actually been to see the guy live. And this was one of his tryout gigs where he was just trying out new material. So some of it was great, some of it wasn't so great. But he was going to take Joe, who he was dating, who eventually became his wife, but she couldn't go. So my dad took me instead. I'm glad my dad did take me, because there is no way on earth that Dad and Joe would have sat through that if he'd have been there on a date. I shit you not. Like, my dad went in there expecting sort of like some late night BBC sort of quite dry, humorous comedy. And we ended up with me sat there next to my dad whilst Jimmy Carr gave a long and very, very visceral description of felching. I'm sat there next to my dad.
How do you know what that is? That's something that I thought.
I know what that is from Bad Santa 2. Because he thought the chick's name was Felch, and he was like, I never sucked jizz out of nobody's butt.
But I literally, I could feel my dad, I could feel the cringe coming off of him in the seat next to me. Yeah. And I found my dad's reaction to it funny, because you could tell this was just information that he never wanted to know.
Oh man, I brought my mom to see the newer Blade Runner, and I was like, no, it's a pretty slow burn sci-fi. Immediately, Batista is having his head smashed through a wall and like all this crazy shit. And I'm like, I'm sorry, Mom, I didn't know it was like this.
I like Benny Hill.
He was.
Oh wow! Stupid song with him. Oh my god, gets me every time.
Oh my god!
My dad loved Benny Hill. My dad was a huge Benny Hill fan.
So
you're not allowed to like Benny Hill anymore unless you are like, some sort of, leading light in the sexist, misogynistic patriarchy. That's
we call those the good old days. When Benny Hill could actually make funny things about boobs and not be considered to be misogynistic.
The best sketch, one of the best ones he did, is that he's there sat at a desk and he's like counting, like he's just counting paper. It doesn't matter what's on the paper. He's just counting sheets of paper from one pile to the other. And a pencil rolls off the edge of the desk, and the secretary comes over and she bends over like in half at the waist, and the short skirt rides up, and she's wearing like French knickers and suspenders and stuff. And then he looks at her ass, and then he turns back to his desk, and then he realizes that he's lost count, and he starts counting the paperwork all over again.
I feel like that Benny Hill music is like what runs in the mind of Ben Shapiro 24/7.
And Katie Joy.
Oh, back to Katie Joy. Okay.
Because she's go. Am
I the only one who think Ben Shapiro looks kind of like that eagle from the Muppets? He's got those eyebrows.
Not really. I don't know. I just.
He's less interesting than the eagle.
Don't confuse Benny Hill with Benny Hinn. Yeah, Benny Hinn is not funny. Benny Hinn is dishonest and Shullington. Benny Hill was a classic comedian, British comedian, who he passed away some time ago. It's been a couple decades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been dead for like 20 or 30 years or something.
Somebody had mentioned Monty Python skits, and my favorite Monty Python skit was one of them. My favorites. There's been a few, but the dead parrot. This parrot is dead. He has ceased to be. I mean, I don't know how anybody cannot watch that skit and just laugh at the sheer deadpan way that John Cleese is talking about his dead parrot. He's just like, he has ceased to be. Yeah, I don't listen to Ben Shapiro either. I mean, I watched a few things here and there.
It just is the same grifting shit over and over again. It's not worth watching.
But here's the thing: anybody can have certain things that you agree on, certain things you don't agree on, right? So Ben Shapiro might say something in one case like, "Oh yeah, he seems right on this," and other ones it's like, "What the hell? He just said it's stupid." I don't follow any of the pundits really, because most of them I find just they have to say a few things I agree with, but for the most part though, they say a lot of stuff I don't agree with. So.
Well, I mean, like, if he said, like, you should probably wipe your ass or something, yeah, I'll agree with that. But like most opinions, I'm not going to agree with Ben with, and I just find it annoying.
Well, Ben Shapiro's he's Jewish, whereas I'm Jewish, and so if he says, "Hey,
and he supports Nazis," they would have him swinging from a tree if they had their way.
See, I don't particularly think that he does.
He doesn't know that he does.
Well, again, take it up with him. I can't imagine a Jew supporting any Nazis, and I don't think Ben Shapiro does. And I think when people go out and say, "Oh, he loves Nazis," and like that, it's hyperbolic. It doesn't really get to the issues. There are certain things that Ben says that I disagree with, of course.
Oh yeah, he's not going to be wearing like a swastika armband or anything like that. He just doesn't realize like a lot of his benefactors and people that support him. It's like what do they say in the South? He's one of the good ones.
Yeah,
that's
maybe.
what they say.
Yeah, I mean, that might be true. I mean, like Trump has a lot of those as well, right?
There's my black. Like he always finds the one black guy and situates him right behind him at the podium.
Yeah, no, like April says, Ben Shapiro's legit hilarious when he isn't being a full-on douche pickle. I have heard Ben be funny. Yeah, there's certain things he has said that I find to be funny, or at least I agree with, and but that doesn't mean I follow the guy. I don't follow any religious or any
I got
political religious pundits. Yeah, I don't know who his sister is.
His sister is basically just Ben Shapiro with boobs.
With fluffy eyebrows, big fluffy eyebrows.
They look very similar. Yeah.
Let me see here.
He's logically.
Oh, Abigail Shapiro. I do know the name Abigail Shapiro. Yeah, she's pretty.
Yeah,
she's pretty.
Yeah. Ben Shapiro is at least he's consistent, and he has a consistent morality, and it lines up with his orthodox religious views. But I would, as a political philosophy, I don't think he's a theocrat. I would put him in the sort of classic English liberal category. But within that category, he then gets to conduct his life how he sees fit, as long as it doesn't impede how other people conduct their lives. He's not sort of, with the exception of, I would probably say, his views on abortion, which is probably an area where he does want to reach into the personal autonomy of other people.
And trans people and homosexuals.
Well, no, I mean, like I say, I watch quite a lot of his content because I do find him interesting, but I watch content from all sides. For example, I subscribe to Daily Wire, but I read a lot of stuff on Vice and a lot of stuff on Salon and BuzzFeed and things like that as well. I don't pick.
Didn't Vice get bought out, by the way? Both Vice
and BuzzFeed I think are going bust.
BuzzFeed went up. Yeah, well, the journal, one of these wings of BuzzFeed went bankrupt or something, or out of business or whatever. But would you say that Ben Shapiro is kind of like a classical liberal in the front, like Sargon of Akkad?
I would put them in the same.
Yeah,
I mean, I subscribe to Lotus Eaters as well.
Yeah.
I always forget Sargon exists.
He doesn't go by that. He doesn't go by that moniker anymore. He just uses his real name, which is Carl Benjamin.
I liked how he infuriated Anita Sarkeesian just by existing.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
He didn't say anything to her.
You know who else changed their moniker recently as well? Cosmic Skeptic. He no longer goes by Cosmic Skeptic. He's going by just Alex O'Connor, which I respect because he went to college and he learned about philosophy and realized Steve was right. I got so many. I can't release them obviously because they're private, but I do have a lot of correspondence with Alex O'Connor on certain topics, especially when it came to atheism and moral epistemology. And he had some weird moral views back then. And I had to basically said, man, what you're saying is incoherent. And then he goes to college and realizes that, hey, look, maybe he didn't know as much about philosophy as he thought he did. And he changed his entire paradigm. And he's now promoting solid philosophy. And I respect that.
Well, he used to be a nihilist as well. He's no longer a nihilist.
He used to be a nihilist. He used to be a moral non-cognitivist who said he was an emotivist, but also a moral subjectivist. I'm like, those are incompatible views.
But I think that's where, like, when I was younger, I was a very outspoken and very not aggressive in terms of physically aggressive, but just sort of aggressively asserted my opinions. I was a very sort of anti-theist.
That's pretty typical for a lot of U.S. and
it's a phase
Brits.
people go through. Some of them.
Yeah, but my position has certainly changed of late. I say not of late, in the last sort of 7 or 8 years, really. But I guess when we were talking about religion and these different sort of religions and attitudes and philosophies, to me, it is just it's the nature of people to want to try and find meaning. And a lot of people, to my mind, either because it's something that's been introduced to them by their culture, through their parents, through their childhood, a lot of people.
Where'd you go? What happened?
Oh no, he died.
He died. John, your mic died.
His dog peed on it or something.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I'm still here.
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah.
What I was saying was that a lot of people, what they do is they try and bootstrap the finding of meaning with religion. And you see this a lot with, you go, well, you can be an agnostic or an atheist and you say my life has meaning for X, Y, Z reason. And then a religious person will come along and go, yeah, but how do you have like ultimate meaning without God? What does, how do you have meaning without, the promise of everlasting life or yada, yada, yada?
Which God am I supposed to follow? That's what I always wonder. Am I going to follow Vishnu? There a couple other 100 Hindu gods?
I've never found anybody who really gave me a coherent meaning what eternal life would even consist of. I've yet. Maybe you know what?
Sounds like it'd be fucking boring. I just want it done.
I'll have a show on it one day where Christians could come in and talk about what they mean by eternal life, because I haven't really gotten anyone to give me a really coherent understanding of what that would even entail. What you would be?
Yeah, what am I going to be sitting on a cloud sucking God's balls, playing a harp for all eternity?
How are you going to be you? I mean, you're not even you, because you will consist of your memories while you lived. So for eternity, are you just you for that brief period of time where you existed mortally? Then is that your existence? But let me ask you this real quick, John, real quick, before I forget. If I were to say to you, I'm a moral subjectivist, non-cognitivist, would you not see a problem with that? Because moral subjectivists are moral cognitivists, but cosmic skeptic would argue he's an emotivist, which is moral non-cognitivist, but also a moral subjectivist. And I'm like trying to explain to him those are incompatible views, because one's moral cognitivism, one is moral non-cognitivism. Would you agree that would be a problem?
I just see it as a matter of practicality.
No, it's a matter of terminology.
Like society has to get along, otherwise everything's going to burn.
That's not my question.
We don't need a God for that equation to work.
But that's not my question to John. My question is, in moral theory, does that make sense to you? To say that you're a moral subjectivist, moral non-cognitivist. Those are incompatible with each other. John? Did I lose him again? John. Nikki,
he's still there.
Nikki, can you go find John? We have a loss of John. We have a loss of John.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I'm still here. Still here.
Copy. 10-4.
Sorry. Yeah. No, that doesn't make sense.
And that's what my conversations with Alex were like, trying to explain to him. You could be an emotivist, but that means you are a moral non-cognitivist. But you cannot say then you subscribe to moral subjectivism, because moral subjectivism argues there are moral facts. Non-cognitivist argues there are no moral facts. An emotivist would be somebody who doesn't hold the propositions as being propositional. So yeah. But anyways, we're off topic. Sorry.
But an emotivist would, so the way I tend to view morality, or how I think most people sort of guide themselves, when they talk about sort of like objective morality, I think the objective part is once you've made your decision about what you value, once your underlying paradigm is, which I think most people come to from an emotive point of view, you can then use our knowledge of the universe, our knowledge of the world, science, physics, other ways of knowing and discovery, to form an objective path from where you're stood right now to what you to what your moral objective is. But what you actually use to determine what is and is not moral is a subjective standard.
I think it's more arbitrary than subjective.
Yeah, okay, I'd get with that.
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you though. But once you have that arbitrary standard, then you can start making an objective moral framework, and that's where people
absolutely
get confused. Yeah, and that's what a lot of atheists. I get annoyed when they're like, "Oh, objective morality is impossible." I'm like, then why? Explain to me why the most educated people in moral theory are atheists that subscribe to objective morality. Or do you think they don't know what they're doing? What, please explain to me this.
It's like 96% of scientists or something are atheists. Yeah, it's like a crazy amount,
and a crazy amount of atheist philosophers hold to moral realism. But real quick, somebody asked me, Goodness says, how do you deem T-Jump? How do you deem T-Jump's way of philosophy? I find him obnoxious. T-Jump's way of philosophy is
novel.
Yeah, it's not philosophy, in my opinion. It's bizarre. It's convoluted. It makes no sense. His big book of epistemology I once went through when I labeled all the pages. It's like page 1, insult people, and page 2, call them an idiot. Page 3, say that they're involuntary imposition of will. It's not
sounding all too familiar.
It's not a philosophy. It's just T-Jump saying, you're an idiot, I don't believe you. Here's my moral theory, which makes no sense. And when people that know moral theory go, T-Jump, this makes no sense, he's just like, well, that's because you're too stupid to understand. Okay, but why can't I find a person smart enough to understand? Which means that T-Jump is the smartest person on the planet because nobody I know agrees with him on his moral philosophy. No, nobody, smart or unintelligent.
Well, apparently he agrees with his own philosophy, so that's one person.
I don't know anybody else does. I don't even know any dumb people that do, but whatever.
Do we, sorry, Steve, just a quick question, since we've gone down this path.
Yeah.
Do you think that there is, where do you think a person's sort of personal morality and the meaning, the values that make their life worthwhile, where do you think they intersect?
Well, if you go by a Scallion approach for contractualism of what we owe to each other, I think that there is a compact we have with society that as people that exist in a environment where you have to get along with people, right? If you want to survive, you have to get along with people, or else you're going to be doing things that are criminal. You're going to be doing things that are going to get your life to be miserable. And so I think morality is derived from societal impacts and evolutionary biology. And that doesn't mean that isn't something to it. Morals exist. I believe very strongly that there are moral facts, but there are moral facts predicated on the fact that we only have morals because we have to interact with other people. If other people didn't exist, I don't know what morality would even mean. We have
sentience and whatnot, but we're communal. Like whether people like it or not, we're part of like a hive.
That's a gal dance. Yeah, well, it's not exactly just a hive. It's not. It's just that we are societal creatures.
It's a superstructure that exists a little bit beyond you. You can think individually, but no matter what, you're part of the superstructure.
Well, let me ask you: if nobody else existed, if you're the only person alone on a desert island, can you give me an example of what an immoral act would be? I can't think of one. And people say, "Well, suicide." Well, that's not a moral act.
So, but when you say you're alone on the island, is it just you, or like, for example, I mean, I could be alone in a room with my dog.
No animals either.
That's what I was about to say. If you start pulling the legs off of a crab with the sole intention of causing pain.
Damn, I'd be lonely. I'd be fucking a coconut in a couple of months.
No other sentient or sapient or sentient beings. Because again, I do believe that you can have immoral acts against an animal. Sure.
Well, yeah, exactly. But that's where I sort of like mean the things that give people's life meaning, where it intersects with morality. So, for example, somebody who has the religious view that they're created in the image of God, for example, and they have a Christian paradigm, they could be alone on a desert island with no other sentient life anywhere in, near, or around them, and they could commit immoral acts.
Well, according to them, because their sin is an act against God.
Yeah, but that's what they define as moral. So,
right.
So, like, for example, the thing that gives as far as I'm concerned, gives my life meaning is the notion that I have children and that I always wanted to have children, and I want to ensure that the world is a reasonable, decent, and safe place for them to continue to exist.
That's something that can give your life meaning, sure. And I feel the exact same way. That's an external, right? So I believe that humans have both internal and external things that give their life meaning. I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I know a lot of people will always say an internalist approach or internal value versus an externalist or external value. And I don't see why they have to be mutually exclusive. I think that we can have internal value merely for the fact that we exist, and external value given to us by things like by wanting to give back to society, having kids, things of that nature. I definitely think that those are things that give us value, axiologically speaking. And I don't have a problem with that. All right. I know it's getting late. My roommate just got home. She's probably wanting to go to bed too. So I'm going to probably call this a night. Unless Supernatural, Crime with Nikki is going to bed too. Yeah. So anyways, thank you guys. I'm sorry I'm going to cut this short. Well, it hasn't been short. It's been actually quite some time, and I know we derailed from the original conversation, but that's fine. That's what we do on this channel.
Oh yeah, you already did a show earlier too.
Yeah, I did a show earlier too. But let me just ask you guys before we go. I'm going to ask you guys two questions. I'm going to ask the audience, and then we'll leave. So discuss one. Does Without a Crystal Ball exploit her child? Yes or no? Straw poll.
Yes.
I would say
my roommate
yes.
says yes. You say yes. You say yes. All right. Number two. Does Without a Crystal Ball exploit other children?
Yes.
My roommate says yes. You guys?
Not really familiar with examples of it. I don't pay too much attention.
That's fair.
To it, but I mean, in terms, it wouldn't. If she's prepared to exploit her own child,
It follows she wouldn't have any hesitation exploiting somebody else's child. Right. Yeah, I agree with that. That's just follow. But anyways, Nikki, thanks a lot for joining. It's good to talk to you. It's been a while. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm glad that there are people like you who still are not afraid to speak out. I know that it probably has harmed channels in the long run speaking out, because if you befriend people with larger channels, you're probably going to get more notice. You're probably going to get a little bit more subscribers. But you know what? I don't play that game. This is why I'll never be a big YouTuber, because I don't play the game.
That's why I'm signing up to Cozy TV.
That I have to kiss your ass in order to get ahead. I don't want to do that. I'll never do that. And I think that the people speaking out, the ones with the smaller channels, are the ones that are more worthy to have my subscription, my super chats, and those I follow, because they're the ones that I think tend to be a little more open in what they believe. They have nobody that.
Yeah, one of my favorite channels is Liberal Viewer. He's like one of the OGs of YouTube. Doesn't have a huge following or anything like that, but like he's an ACLU lawyer. Really good stuff. I always link him.
What is it called?
Liberal Viewer.
Oh, yeah, not familiar with him.
He's a lawyer out of California.
Okay, I'll check it out. All right, I'm going to end this. I'm going to end the StreamYards. Rot and John. By the way, if people didn't know the voices by now, it's John F. We'll just call him.
Bye.
And Rot Feast. So, all right, guys. Good night, and thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think of the video description, or excuse me, the video comments. If you guys agree with one or two, let me know if you think that she does exploit her child or doesn't exploit. But give me your reasoning and why. I really do want to know your reasoning. Give me examples of why you believe the way you do, because I have my belief because of examples given to me that she does exploit not just her own child, but other children. So with that, I'm going to leave you guys good night, and hope you have a good rest of the weekend.